بسم الله والصلاة والسلام على نبينا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. On behalf of Tawheed Foundation, we want to welcome everybody to this event, inspiring our youth, and we're very happy for everybody to attend this event with us. And inshallah today, the event will start with an introduction, and then we'll have a speech given by three of our speakers, and then we'll have opinions from the youth. We want feedback from the youth, and then we'll have our award ceremony. As many of you remember, we had a picnic recently, and many of the people that attended took an exam, a quiz, and a few of them, they excelled, and we want to reward them for their contribution. So our first speaker is Brother Mahmood Haque, and what he will do is he will introduce Tawheed Foundation's current and future activities. So Brother Mahmood Haque has been involved in leadership for about 17 years. He is a CPA by profession, and inshallah he is the director of finance at Al-Mahmood School, and he is the head of Tawheed Foundation. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Jazakallah, Brother Hossain. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. As-salatu as-salamu ala Rasulil Kareem. Respected brothers, sisters, my beloved youth. First of all, I'd like to thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who has given us opportunity to attend this religious occasion, inspiring our youth event. And also on behalf of Tawheed Foundation, it is a pleasure and privilege to welcome you all in this auspicious occasion. May Allah reward all of us. May Allah send His mercy and blessings on all of these gatherings. A special thanks to our sisters who have made the homemade, brought homemade food for this occasion. May Allah accept their good intention. And most of the brothers and sisters who are here, they know Tawheed. We have made several programs, about 4 or 5 programs we made. But there are some new brothers and sisters. So at the beginning, I would like to show a small PowerPoint presentation to explain what Tawheed is, what is the current and future activities. Tawheed Foundation actively started from January 2018. It starts its program activities. So we have the website tawheedfast.org. We have the Facebook, also facebook.com/no-tawheed. Our email and contact address is contact@tawheedfast.org. So this is a non-profit religious education and recreation center. It is a faith-based non-profit socio-religious organization, and it is exempt from federal income tax 501c3. It means that your donation is fully tax deductible. So in this year, in 2018, if you donate for Tawheed on or before December 31, 2018, inshallah you will get full deduction on your tax return, personal tax return of 2018. In fact, it is initiated by a joint venture of Handball Female Islamic Activity for Bangladesh immigrant community via social media and North America. Most of the majority of this organization, still the working sisters are most of the members and patrons are sisters, but we encourage our brothers to join to make this organization a great success. Our mission in brief is to promote religious education among adult and young Muslims, brothers and sisters, to nurture moral development of our youth, to facilitate social development through education and training. Our standard is learning, understanding the essence of Tawheed. Islamic monotheism remains our priority. Purification of our religious creed based on authentic evidence. We avoid innovation in our religious activities. We follow the interpretation of the Quran based on authentic hadith and its understanding of early generation of righteous predecessors. We follow authentic hadith verified by hadith scholars. We depend on authentic sources of knowledge in performing our worship. We are not restricted following any particular school of thought in religious activities. Currently, Tawheed is providing education of Quran studies. Tawheed is organizing religious classes by local scholars via teleconference, providing education lectures on various aspects of our religion, and providing financial help on humanitarian ground in external emerging disaster relief. Tawheed already donated for Rohingya through Islamic relief and through Navig also. And also distribute printed materials, books, posting YouTube lectures and producing audio materials from authentic sources. So far, I already told that we started activities from January 2018. In these 7 months, we have already had program on few programs as I mentioned. On 21st January, we had a program, educational program. We have speakers at Taj Mahal. We have May 13th at Balajuno. We have the Welcome Ramadan program. We have July 22nd, we have given house seminar in this center. On July 28th, we youth program at Corona. And also August 26th, we had a e-premium at Pastor Corona Park. Our future is to build a permanent facility to establish our prayer hall, gymnasium for boys and girls, library, etc. We have to start our weekend Quran classes. Our future goal is to basic religious studies, to provide Quran memorization project for both boys and girls, and organize periodic Islamic seminars by local and international Islamic scholars. Also, we want to have monthly seminar in Islamic education, developing online social audio lectures, and also give substance abuse awareness and counseling classes. Outreach, charitable food distribution during Ramadan in local community. Also, from Tawheed, we provide guidance for online academic study in Islam, BA, and counseling for higher education. So we have to, in order to achieve those objectives, inshallah, our vision is to have a youth center like this, where we can have the prayer hall, and we can have the library and kitchen, also the basketball outdoor game. And we have the gym. So we have to have this facility in order to provide our youth and adult those facilities and also to achieve our future goal. Current plan action. You see, in order to build this youth center, it takes time and it will cost $3 to $4 million. Because if you buy a house, nowadays it costs not less than $1 million, then you have to break the house, then you have to build the the center. That will cost additional $2 to $3 million. Moreover, for a facility like this, we have to get the PA permit. In order to get the PA permit, you have to let the lot size should be at least 80 by 100. In order to that, you have to have two houses. So how, alhamdulillah, we have the vision to have this in near future with the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and with the, but we have to try, we have to give our effort, then Allah help will come. But to start immediately, you need at least a place where you can have at least our youth activities, lectures, Islamic seminars, workshop, we can run class and raise program. Like today we rented this place for this program. And last half seminar also we have rented this place. But we have to have our own place at least to do our current activities. Alhamdulillah, we are in the process of getting a brand new commercial religious community center. Is not finalized in this vicinity, which will meet our immediate need. At least we can have this type of programs or lectures. We can start a weekend school, Quranic class, and we'll also have the prayer hall also. So maybe inshallah we will be getting that at half price because it will be used for prayer and Islamic education purposes. So in that case we need at least 400,000 to close the deal. The space will be 22 to 50 square feet. Expected date of closing will be in December 18, 2018 or lately it will be January 2019 inshallah. So currently we have $275,000. We need at least $150,000 to close the deal. So how we can get it? This $275,000 we collected actually mostly sisters by making patronship. We have about 200 patrons full time, 95% are sisters. So we want the brothers to come forward and become patrons so that we can raise the $150,000 to close the deal. And payment of one-time 200 donation needed to become founding patron. So after this speech, our speaker will give you the place form. Please, you place any amount or you donate or become patronship to help this great cause, to help the center. So this is the thing we can do. We need your help for the cause. And also I request our brothers and sisters to reach out friends, relatives to help this project by making new patrons or collecting sort of donation. Any form of support is Sadqa Jariya. Inshallah Allah will reward you. So we can pay through PayPal. We have if you go to our website, we can pay through a credit card or PayPal. So please donate directly and your email us at contact@tawheedfirst.org. So thank you very much for coming. Subhanakallahumma bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Jazakallahu khairan. Again, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. As you can see, that was meant more for the parents, not the kids. Although this event is for the kids, and we want them to be happy because they took their time to come out here. So inshallah, going forward, the attention will be given towards the kids. All these young kids sitting in the front and in the back. And as you can see that the progress we made, as Brother Mahmood showed on the slide, that we're almost there. We're about to, seal the deal by the end of this year, and we want that extra push to finish the deal off. So inshallah, that's where we're going to go towards. But as far as today's event, it is for the kids, and we want them to be happy. So inshallah, we'll continue doing that for the rest of the event. So our next speaker is Dr. Delowar Hossain. He'll be giving a small talk. And Dr. Delowar Hossain, he's a regular khatib in the New Jersey, New York area, and he's been doing this for quite some time. He's professionally he's an electrical engineer. He is a professor in CUNY system.
Use this one, yeah. I think it's better.
Let's try.
Hello? Bismillah. Good? Bismillah. Bismillah, Bismillah. Bismillah. Bismillah, Bismillah. You need to be loud. In the back, can everybody hear? Yes? Jazakallah khair. Is there an echo in the back? No? Turn it up? You said to turn it up a little.
I don't know.
How about now? Jazakallah khair. So inshallah, Dr. Delowar Hossain will take on the mic, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
إن الحمد لله الصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. Firstly, before the discussion starts, I think we need some silence since we're depending on only one sound system, single speaker. If everybody talks in the same time, it will be so chaotic that nobody can benefit from anyone. So perhaps it is important that we keep the silence as much as possible. So starting with the discussion, continuing from Brother Mahmood, what he said that inshallah we're trying to get a place which cost about $400,000, a discounted price, by the way. To give further details, it cost about $600,000 to $700,000, and alhamdulillah, Allah made it easy. At least it's not complete yet, but Allah made it easy that most likely we'll get it for $400,000. They are giving some discount because this is a religious scenario. So, but we don't have the money even that much. So therefore we need some collection of money so we can complete this process hopefully and have a place at least double of this size where we are now, so we can get in there as much as we want for Islamic activities. So the point is that we all have to come together because this is not anybody's personal initiative. This is an initiative for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and nobody will come forward except the believers. So you and I have to pay the toll, as they say. So we have to do our part of it, so inshallah this place will be successful. Now why we want to do it? Is it too loud for you in the front? Is it too loud? Because people who are in the front, they're getting the first impact of the sound, so they're getting overwhelmed. In the back it is, attenuating so far nobody can hear. So inshallah, we also talked about buying a sound system once we buy the place, and it will be a good one inshallah. I already checked online what level of sound system we need. I already did the homework. Even though we don't have a place, I'm already looking at the sound system, so we don't have to go through same kind of problem next time. Again, but all this will come into effect inshallah once we have a place, and it depends on how we contribute to get the place inshallah. So now why we're getting a place, why it's so important? Because the young generation, they are important. That's why you need a place to support them. The place is not important. The place will become important because of the people who will go to the place, which is the youth. It's not me saying they're important. Allah's Prophet ﷺ said they're important. Why they're important and why you need to culture them so they stay as Muslims and do not go off track like many young generations are today going through this problem. The first point, all of us which are not young anymore went through this process of youth, and this is the time which is not really people are not mature enough so to make their own decisions and select their friends and direction in life properly, so they need some guidance, and nobody can give guidance except the parents and the people who are older than him or her. So we are the people who are responsible for them to guide them towards Islam. This is the initiative to do that. Inshallah, we should try our best again to support this cause. Why the youth is so important, and doing Islamic activities while you're young is the most important element. Why? Number one, Prophet ﷺ said in a hadith, سَبَاتٌ يُذُلُّهُمُ اللَّهُ فِي ذِلِّهِ يَوْمَ لَا ذِلَّ إِلَّا ذِلُّهُ. 7 people in the day of judgment will get the shade of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when nobody else will have shade. Simply saying this is a very terrible situation, the day of judgment. Just to even give further details how the day of judgment is, and getting shade in that day is how important that is. Day of judgment, the sun will be very close to you. Exactly how close, that's beyond the scope of the discussion. It will be close. It will be so close, people will be sweating. If you imagine today, sun being so far, in a summertime, in July and August, middle of the day, if it exceeds 100 plus, then people start sweating like crazy. And sun is way far from us. If the very sun is very close to us, we'll be boiling. So that day, shade means a lot. The day you're thirsty and exhausted, a cool glass of water means a lot. Today it may not mean much. Day of judgment, when people will be thirsty and suffering from terror and horror, that day they will be provided shade and cool water. Guess what? Everybody is not getting it. Only few people will get it, and one of them is the young people. Is every young people getting it? Answer is no. Only some of them. Who are those some? Prophet ﷺ said, the hadith, سَبَاتٌ يُذِلُّهُمُ اللَّهُ فِي ذِلِّهِ يَوْمَ لَا ذِلَّ إِلَّا ذِلُّهُ الْإِمَامُ الْعَادِلُ وَالشَّابُ النَّشَأَ بِعِبَادَةِ اللَّهِ. A just ruler, a president who is just and honest, apply justice to the population, which is not us. Next point, a young man or a woman in the prime of their age, while they're young and youth and strong and powerful, that time they're obedient to Allah. So there is the discussion comes for you and us. You understanding what I'm saying? Yes? It's too much? No? Okay. So 7 people will be honored in Day of Judgment. One of them, which we can try, I cannot try, it's too late. But you people here in the front, or perhaps in the back too, you can try. 7 people who will be honored by Allah in Day of Judgment. One of them is those who are obedient to Allah in this life while they're young. Why young is so important? Because you have the energy, you have the power, you can take challenges, you're not afraid of doing things. Now, if you are guided right, you will not be afraid to obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You will not be afraid to take the challenges when other people in the society do other things. So yes, that's a good part of it. What is the flip side, the bad part of it? You're not afraid, you're not afraid to do lying, deceiving, and doing bad things because you sometimes do not care. So this is a point which is very sensitive. So what you have to do, we have to work together so you're supported, guided, and protected toward the right direction so you can reach your destination, which is the paradise, which is the pleasure of Allah, which is getting the shade in the Day of Judgment when nobody has right to it except people like you. I mean, this is quite an incentive for people to work hard. And likewise for the parents, if you really love your children, if you do, first thing I would do, which I really spoke about maybe 20 some years, before I think the first Islamic school opened in Brooklyn, Al-Nur School, not the first, but that is the one which was quite famous. Before they bought the building, I was walking down 4th Avenue, Brooklyn once, and I heard they're going to open Islamic school there. So I was wondering how the Muslims will be sheltered from this kufr. So Allah blessed Muslims with many masajid. But guess what? Masajid is an environment, more often than not, the older generation comes in to pray and they think about retirement there. But they per se are the gone case, per se. But what I'm more concerned about, the rising stars, right? Keep rising and they become brighter and brighter. How can you tap into their lights, the energy and momentum and used for positive purpose. That's the objective. So masajids won't do it. I'm not blaming them because they are not designed for it. For example, a 4x4 vehicle is designed for the snow. And two-wheel drives are not designed for it. A masjid is one of the best places in the earth, no shadow of doubt. Our place will also have a place to worship, by the way. It will be also some form of masjid, if you want to think that way. But that's not my point. My point is, masjid are designed for a different purpose. Most of the time, people in the middle ages or the older ages come in, pray, and sit down and discuss from Dhuhr to Asr, Asr to Maghrib, then go home and eat and sleep, come right before Fajr in the masjid, which is good. But this is not what we're about here. We need to tap into the energy of the next generation. They have to come forward, take charge, and raise the flag of the religion of Islam. And the older generation will not or cannot do it. Either way, it is not being done. So we have to do it. Another point, why young people important? Many of us migrated from another country. Regardless what age you came in, migration to a different land, you are a newcomer. You have to know what the subway is, what subway is supposed to mean. It's a food store subway or an underground train system. You just don't know. You come to JFK, what this acronym stands for, you have no clue. So you have to start somewhere. The generation started from here, they have the upper hand, they have the advantage. From the get-go, from the scratch you here, you're enrooted here, you have rights and responsibility to this place. You cannot fulfill neither of them unless you know your rights and responsibility within the context of Islam. Again, this requires an educational process. The masajid are not designed to do that. And regretfully, if I may choose to say it, it's a bold statement, especially masajid designed by communities from, per se, from Bangladesh, Pakistan, India, Afghanistan, these places, they are so traditional. They forgot what time is it. I go to some of the places to pray sometime and listen, the stories they say has no relevance, no connection to the people, the time and the space we're living in. I hear they still singing the same song, what happened in Bangladesh election. When the election midterm here today, this country is going down the drain. They have no idea what's happening. Who is running for election? Who is running for the offices? Have no clue because they're singing the same old song what they sang in their countries. So they're not going to wake up anytime soon. So we have to forget about it. Not pushing them aside, giving them their due rights and due places. Go ahead, do what you have to do. But young people who go into the school system now, we need to hold their hand, bring them close, and culture them in a proper manner so they get to the fullest potential as rightfully they should be getting to. Now, the parents, I have to tell you something. This is my belief, and I researched it, I think, more than most of the people. With all due humility, I'm just saying this, that I think I've researched this more than most of the people I came to see. And to be blunt, I didn't see yet somebody research more than me. Yet. I just don't know, but I didn't see yet. And I know thousands of people across the country, and I go various places, so I see a lot of people. Putting them in Islamic school, that's basic. Islam 101. Every child at the bare minimum has to go to Islamic school. Let me repeat this. Every child at the bare minimum must go to Islamic school. If that makes me live in a house or an apartment with half a bedroom, let me repeat this. If I have to live in a half a bedroom, not a full bedroom. If I have to sleep on the floor, yes, that's what I meant. I sleep on the floor. If I have to do that, I will do that. If I have to drive the junkiest car in the town, I will do so. I'm going to put my kids in the Islamic school first. Is it the end of my effort? Answer is no. This is just the beginning of it. Let me just lay these things down for you. It is the beginning of an effort to please Allah in Day of Judgment. This is not the end of it. So, my children will go to Islamic school, inshallah. If that requires me to do 3 jobs, and sisters, may Allah reward you all, and I mean it. It's not a lecture, I mean it, because I never see Muslim females come forward so much than the brother. This is the first event or first scenario, I have seen that. In most cases, sisters are nowhere in the horizon. Most of the time, the brothers in the program. That this case, amazingly, and positive sense, mashallah, may Allah reward them and protect them and honor them in this life and hereafter. And this is the sincere dua, no phony story in there. I mean it, every word of it. So, may Allah reward them. And the sad part is, brothers, I don't know where you are. And they are not even there. I said where you are, they can't even hear it because they're not even there. So those who are there, please convey the message. Where are you, my brother? My brother, where are you? Am I pissed off? Yes. Where are you? Allah made you a rijal. The men are of two types. One is biological men. One are rijal, which is not biological men. In beyond that, they're responsible people. يقول الله عز وجل الرجال قوامون على النساء بما فضل الله بعضكم على بعض بما أنفقوا من أموالهم. That's not the topic of the discussion today. Men, you are responsible. You are the driver of the vehicle. Why are you in the trunk? I was wondering, why are you hiding in the trunk? You need to come to the front. Doesn't negate the fact sisters has a role to play, have played that role through the annals of Muslim history, starting with al-Mu'minin Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha, narrated the second highest number of hadith. Without going to details, point is, the brothers, you need to step up to the plate. I think you are sitting in the back, and that's very sad. You don't have to be harsh to be a good leader. You don't have to be aggressive. You don't have to speak loud. That doesn't make you a leader. Leader, you have to do your due responsibilities, which is, number one, taking care of the family. Ani Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, kullukum ra'in, kullukum mas'ulun an ra'iyatihi. You are in charge of the family. You are in charge of the family. You better act like one that is in charge. If you're the president, but you act like the press secretary, there's a problem. You act like the president. You take control of the situation. First, your family members need to be helped. They have to be helped for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now you have to give them the proper education. Number one, bring them to the Islamic school. Now the sisters, I will humbly request, I think you have done enough. In this occasion, you have done enough. Again, may Allah reward you immensely. Having said that, if the brothers are not coming, they're your children too. So therefore, what do you have to do? That if I have to sell my gold jewelries, I will do it. This is no lecture. This is a statement up from the bottom of the heart, that if I have to sell my jewelries, I will do to put them in Islamic school as long as I can. And Allah will be witness in the day of judgment. Allah has sold my beloved jewelries for your pleasure. So this message is clear that they must start from Islamic school. I hope the message is quite clear without going overboard. Second point, it is not enough to put them in the Islamic school, because Islamic school doesn't have the most pious people all the time. They have people in that school, some of them are corrupted, and I know about it. Some of them are corrupted, whatever the reason is. So, we have to put them in that environment, lesser of the two evil than the public school system. Then when they come home, we have to disinfect them. Number one, I'm going to come to the youth. I didn't start with you guys yet, with the parents first. Number one, the television. Television is an element. It has good, it has bad. Computers is dumb monitors. If you have internet connection, this is an active doorway to go anywhere in the world. Computers with internet connection is an active doorway to go to any part of the world. Access to any information, except the classified information, obviously. Access to any information under the sun. So therefore, if you have your kids have access to computer with an internet connection or a television set with no restrictions to it, that is disaster at the least to say. Now both of the parents are working, they're busy. So somebody has to do something to them. Somebody has to be having oversight and guiding them by having some level of restrictions. Why should I have restrictions on my children? So the kids may say, Daddy, Mommy, you don't trust me. They will say that. Don't you trust me? Do you think I'm a bad person? You know, then my answer is, my son, my daughter, I trust you 120%, not 100%, 120%. Whom I don't trust is the shaitan. I don't trust him. So you say, so what? Because shaitan is smarter than you. He is older than you. He has long life experience of deceiving people, including our father, Adam alayhi salatu salam. Adam, being the father of mankind, smart, Allah has chosen, he been deceived by shaitan. Imagine you and I so weak, do not have same level of intelligence, we don't have a special place like Adam, so we are vulnerable to shaitan. Therefore, to protect you from shaitan, I'm going to stop the television, or I'm going to control it. Expose you to that in a controlled manner, in a systematic approach, one step at a time. Likewise, the internet connection, same thing. I don't know how many of you, if you are so much into technology kind of stuff. Another drawback, this generation of the parents, they probably do not know what is out there. This is another deficiency, another disconnect. So the children giving them stories, they're believing it. They don't know what they go through. So the parents have to be up to date per se, at least knowing about them. So, second point, controlling the television and internet. The third point for the parents, what we should do to our kids. Number three, عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم كلكم راع كلكم مسؤول عن رعيته. Each of you are influenced by your friends. So be careful whom you take as your friend. I'm going to go to the kids. I think Brother Abdullah will talk about it afterwards in detail, social challenges and how to deal with that. But my point is to the parents. If your children mix with somebody, you take them to somebody's house, make sure you be selective whose house you take them to. That house may have people who are counterproductive in terms of culturing your children with Islam. So, at least these 3 points I like to say to the parents, so make sure that we have some guidelines to put the children. And the last point for everyone, parents and children, grandparents, doesn't matter. Investing time on something which is beneficial. Allah is going to ask about this time, Day of Judgment. Allah is going to talk about money. Allah is going to talk about our health. Few things Allah is going to ask about, Day of Judgment. So we should use those things in an efficient manner. One of the things I never like, one of the things I, per se as a person, upon the understanding of the Quran and Sunnah, I do not like people going to the shopping malls, back and forth, doing tawaf. Like people go to the Umrah and Hajj, give tawaf, Muslim men and women going to the shopping center over and over again. What are you doing here? I need to buy something. What I'm saying based on study, not just stories from the newspapers. And obviously, when I say study, I mean I first listen to the scholars, the giant scholars, people who are renowned across the globe for centuries, reading their books first, then obviously using my own intellectual ability to analyze information, alhamdulillah, then come to a conclusion. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows the best. So these are the places, are the worst of the places. What is the worst of the place? Ayyabul Danshar, which is the worst place, Kama Qala sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, as-suq, the marketplace, online or live. Let me just point out this 21st century discussion. Marketplace, online, Amazon.com, Macy's.com, Sears.com, all of them are same category because the evil they have within, you are exposed to it either physically or intellectually by looking at the websites. So unless I need something, I shouldn't be wasting time in the marketplace. I should be investing the time in the Islamic centers like the one we are inshallah building. Coming there, volunteering there, serving there to the kids. If I can't give a lecture, can I clean the carpet? For your information, I have cleaned the masjid carpet for many years. For your information. Yes, I went there with vacuums, I vacuumed. Did I clean the masjid bathroom years ago? Yes, 15, 20 years ago, I cleaned the masjid bathroom too, for your information. Because this is the house of Allah. What I do, there is benefit for me. I care less about how you think. It is me benefiting from. I don't know how you look at the event, but I see this is a productive thing to do. Why? If you want to hear the hadith, let me repeat that to you. Prophet ﷺ, in his time there was a person in the masjid who used to clean the masjid. And he or she died one night, and Sahaba radiallahu anhum gave the janazah and buried the person at night. Prophet ﷺ inquired about that person. They say he died. He said, how come he didn't call me? They did not want to disturb the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He is the president of Medina. He is the Messenger of Allah. He is the father of the nation. He is a busy person. They did not want to disturb him. Guess what? He was quite upset. Why did you call me about the person? He is no small person. He is to clean the house of Allah. He is no small person. To us, maybe small. To Allah, he or she is big. So the point is, whatever we can do, we should come forward. Finance, intellectual support, website design, cleaning, cooking food, giving security, installing sound system, cameras. Whatever you can for Allah, you should do it. For whose benefit? For your benefit. يقول الله عز وجل وما تنفق من شيء فإن الله به عليم. Whatever you do for Allah, i.e. spending money for Allah or giving other resources, Allah is aware of that. So, we have 24 hours a day. The Messenger ﷺ also had 24 hours. Abu Bakr Siddiq also had 24 hours. So, none of us have 28 or 29. Therefore, the limited resource of time you have to divide it in a smart manner. And really, I myself look at time, 24 hours pass is like 15 minutes. Every week pass like not even a day. One Jummah to next Jummah, I feel like this Friday, again another Jummah, just like that. So I realized that time of life is very short. If you go back 30 years, for the people who are more than 30 obviously, if you go back 30 years, and I remember 30 years ago, subhanallah, it just passed, I cannot rewind the time. I know, more often than not, I'm not going to make 30 more years. Virtually impossible, and Allah knows the best. So if that 30 years pass, next 30 will also pass. I will not have any feeling of time. It will just go. So how can I use it? First, if you have a bucket of water, you want to fill it up. Many people give effort, but not intelligent effort. What do I mean? Somebody want to fill up a bucket. What do? You put the bucket under a source of water, keep filling up, you come out, there's no water. You keep doing it over and over again, giving effort, but we have to be intelligent. There's a hole in the bottom of the bucket, draining all the waters. The first thing I should do, patch the bucket. Then whatever I put, that will remain there. What is my analogy about? About not losing the time. If you let the time pass away from the bucket, you don't have enough to do for Allah and His Prophet, for your children, for whatever other good purpose. So time is short. After sleeping, which is a necessity, work, which is a necessity, and other things, basics. After that, whatever time I have, I shouldn't be running in the marketplace, unless I have a reason for it. Excuse me. I heard of people of knowledge saying this. I heard it, and which I liked, by the way. Hafizahullah, he said, if you're going to buy salt in Pathmark, and you know salt is in aisle number 11, you go through the door, entrance, and go to aisle number 11. Don't go through 10, go 11. If you go through the 10, you're going to stop in 10, look for something else. You're going to forget your purpose and objective. Go 11, shelf number 2 in the top left-hand side corner. I go to shelf number 2, left-hand corner, take my salt, take a U-turn, go exactly to the counter. And I'm not going to look in the counter what they have next to the counter. You know, stores have stuff next to the counter for a purpose. While you're waiting in a line, they want to sell things to you. They're smart, and we are not. So we have to be smart like them, not to be fooled by their business tricks. We need to be focused. So a salt took me 5 minutes to buy. And many people go for a salt, spend 45 minutes. So you lost 40 minutes from your life. Each time you go to buy a salt and lose 40 minutes, 10 times is 400 minutes. Where are you going to get this time back again? So we do not have infinite resources, we have limited resources. We have to use them efficiently. So I think I have spoken enough for the parents. The first thing, Islamic school and the television control, putting them in the right companionship with the right friends, right neighbor, and in home, always talking to them about Allah and His Prophet. Always encourage them. Always give them the good news of paradise. Give them the worry and concern of the hellfire. Give them the face of the Prophet ﷺ. Connect them with them. Another thing I like to say to the parents, especially the fathers. Many people think talking about Islam is being harsh. That's not the case, by the way. And many people tell me, as a person, you're harsh. Some people say that. I don't know why, but that's what they say that. But yes, there is a place for hardship, hard talk, tough talk. There is a place for gentle talk. It depends. If giving a gift does the job, why have to scream to a person? The Prophet ﷺ find the easier way out. But some parents, always giving gift, never giving the hard talk sometime when it's needed. But they give hard talk, by the way, they give. If you don't get the highest score in your physics, on math and biology, then they're upset. Those sweet talk parents are not sweet anymore. Why the SAT score is so low? Why didn't you get the scholarship? They're furious. You didn't pray? Inshallah they will. Keep making dua. Some parents tell me, keep making dua, and Prophet ﷺ couldn't make his own uncle Muslim. I said, that's true. They keep making dua for their school, don't scream at them. No. You have to scream at them for the school. For religion, make dua. This is illogical, doesn't make any sense. This is just fooling our own self. Culturing young children, this is a process of culturing. It requires smiley talk, loving and caring, sometimes hard talk. It depends on the circumstances. But one thing I'll tell you this, you just can't get to the children cold and scream at them without giving them any training at the beginning. So they call it warm-up. So winter time, you just don't start the car and start driving. You know why? Because cars are going to hesitate. Because the transmission fluid is still too cold. You need to reach certain temperature for this mechanism to work. So you need to warm up a bit, little bit. So you warm the children up a little bit. Give them some gift. Take them to the masjid. Inshallah, this center, inshallah, once you open, it won't be like the traditional one. The older people come scream at the young, but we'll train them to have proper manners, don't get me wrong. But they will feel home. They will feel a place to go and learn and play. Inshallah, we'll have a place to play around, a little small gym. We don't have much big places, but at least something would be there. Maybe a little boxing heavy bag, little ping pong, and for the sisters maybe some other small games. Whatever we can afford at this point. The point is, it is our point we're starting with. It is up to rest of the population of the Muslim generation to complete the process. So, a lot of people say, they are doing it. No, we are doing it. When you say they, it is we versus they kind of thing. It is we are doing it. We are responsible for it. It is our job to do it. It's not there. There is no they there. It is us. Many people say they. If you expect the congressman to come to do it, you're dreaming. It is Muhammad, Abdullah and Fatima and Khadija, they have to do it. So it is our responsibility. And let me tell you something. If you could have done something and you didn't do, and because of your negligence or failure or lack of proper action, one Muslim went to hellfire, I swear by Allah, you're responsible day of judgment. Let me repeat this. If you could do something in any form of fashion and you choose not to do it out of negligence or carelessness, in day of judgment, you are responsible in front of Allah in day of judgment. Whatever the case is. تَعْمُرُونَ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ وَتَنْهَوْنَ عَنِ الْمُنكَرِ. This is our basic fundamental role of every single Muslim in their level. An alim, a well-known scholar, has a global perspective. You and I, small people, maybe in this county, this block, this town, that's our job. Whatever our job is, we're responsible for it. And if you don't do it, Allah will ask about it. So, we need to connect them to the akhirah. Certain culture, people just go start smacking kids. This is not the way to do it. It has a place. Certain level of counseling, they call it physical counseling, it is also needed. There's a time and a space for it. There's a method for it. Some people come from, like some of the masajid I had complained from, the tahfiz program, the imam whips the kid with a stick. And that's illegal. You need to wake up where you are. This is way down south. You need to come up. You can't do that. There is a place for things. So if you never train them to pray, now the child is 16 years old, why don't you pray? I will speak to them like this. I'm going to come to you first. Why didn't you tell them before when the person was 6 years old? Now he's 16. So it is your fault, not their first. So you need to come to a gradual process. Now please note, gradual does not mean 200 years. You keep trying and it doesn't work. We have to have different methods for it. I really can't generalize one method for everyone, but we have to try. The last not the least, we have to make a lot of dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now to the young men and women. Day of Judgment, when people are thirsty. People are thirsty. I mean, anybody travel in hot weather, like in Hajj and Umrah and those times, you know middle of the day what thirst is supposed to mean. Right? It's very thirsty. And a sip of water means a lot those times. In winter it doesn't mean much. Day of Judgment would be a terrible place to be. But we have to be there. We have no choice. That time a glass of water will mean a lot. So now, who will get the water from Prophet ﷺ? From Haque Kawthar, people will line up to get water from them. Do anybody know how many people will be in Day of Judgment? I don't know the answer. Billions of people. Billions and trillions of people. Do anybody know how people will recognize them that you are Muslim, you should get water, you are a bad person, you're not supposed to get water? Do anybody know from here? No? They have an ID card. Everybody will have ID card. You know what kind of ID card? The natural one, right? If you made prayer on due time in a proper manner with right wudu, right ablution, then the parts of the body which you washed will be enlightened, will be bright. So you will be recognized from the rest of the population. You are a person who is Muslim who prayed 5 times a day. This is your ID card that day. The Prophet ﷺ recognized these are the Muslims, they deserve to get special cool water. You drink that water once, you'll never be thirsty again. So being a Muslim, practicing religion in a young age has some lot of benefit. Now, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Quran, إِنَّ الْمُتَّقِينَ فِي جَنَّاتِ وَنَحَرٍ فِي مَقْعَدِ صِدْقٍ عِنْدَ مَلِيكٍ مُقْتَدِرٍ. Surah 54, Surah Qamar, last 2 verses. Allah says in the Quran that إِنَّ الْمُتَّقِينَ فِي جَنَّاتِ وَنَهَرٍ. The pious one, I'm translating in a loose translation, the pious one in Day of Judgment will be in the paradise. That's not enough. Allah says, فِي مَقْعَدِ صِدْقٍ عِنْدَ مَلِيكٍ مُقْتَدِرٍ. They'll be in a place, in a station of honor and dignity close to the King of the Kings, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So imagine that you, the young men and women, Allah is inviting you to that place. And Allah says in the Quran, وَاللَّهُ يَدْعُوكُمْ إِلَى دَارِ السَّلَامِ. Allah is inviting you towards paradise, to the life of hereafter. So whatever we do in this life has consequences, positive or negative, in the Day of Judgment. So young men and women, that you need to do your part as a Muslim with due diligence. Another thing, the ayat in the Quran which fascinates me the most in terms of the Day of Judgment, when Allah will say, Ya ayyatuha nafsul mutma'inna irji'i ila rabbiki radiyatan mardiyah fadkhuli fi ibadi wadkhuli jannati. This ayah is like fascinating. Allah is calling to you, the 7th grader, the 5th grader, the 3rd grader. Allah is calling upon you. Allah is pleased with you. He's telling you, I'm pleased with you. Come to me. Ila rabbiki, come to your Lord. Radiyatan mardiyah. Allah is pleased with you, you pleased with Him. What is in return you get by His pleasure? Fadkhuli fi ibadi wadkhuli jannati. Come to the paradise, simply. And Allah said, فَلَا تَعْلَمُ نَفْسٌ مَا أُخْفِيَ لَهُم مِّن قُرَّةِ أَعْيُنٍ. Allah said, no mind knows whatever Allah is left for you in the paradise. So young men and women, you can think about nice clothing, you think about good computer games, you think about good car, good house, good food, good clothing. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, whatever Allah is waiting to give you, it is beyond human comprehension, beyond human imagination. So you can't even think of how exciting, entertaining and enjoyable things are. But what do you have to do? You have to be patient and work a little bit to get it. Now let me ask you something. Is it easy to get 100 in the class or get a 0 easy? Which is easy to get? Anyone want to answer? Huh? You get a big 0, right? Big 0, you get 3 people to carry it? No? Okay. Get a big 0 is easy to get. You know why? Because you come to the class for the exam. The book is there, notebook. You just sit there and keep looking at the notebook. Don't write anything. Easy way to get a big zero. 3 people will carry for you. Right? To get 100, 2 zeros and a 1 in front of it, that's a lot of work. Because that's the perfect score. So likewise, going to the paradise, going to the best place you can imagine of, requires some work. Getting 100 requires some work. Right? Getting 0 requires no work. Go to hellfire, no work. Just follow the shaitan. Do every idiotic things in the earth. Easy way to go to hellfire. May Allah protect us from it. To do the good things, go to paradise, you have to give some effort. So this is the thing we need to discuss now. One of the things Allah says in Quran, وَأَمَّا مَنْ خَافَ مَقَامَ رَبِّهِ وَنَهَى النَّفْسَ عَنِ الْهَوَىٰ فَإِنَّ الْجَنَّةَ هِيَ الْمَأْوَىٰ. Whoever fears Allah and fears that day, they have to meet Allah. Fears that day, they have to meet Allah, the final exam with Allah. Fear that day, when Allah is going to ask them, how have you lived your young life? When you 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, what have you done? Did you do like everybody else? Like went through the same process like everybody else? Then this is quite sad. Were you patient for Allah? Were you obedient to Allah? Did you love the Prophet? Try to live like a Muslim? Hang with a Muslim? Do productive things like Muslims? Then yes, for you there is reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But if you didn't do that, that will be kind of problematic. So, as Muslims, we have to think about those avenues. And another thing, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Quran for the young men and women, إِنَّ اللَّهَ اشْتَرَى مِنَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ أَنفُسَهُمْ وَأَمْوَالَهُمْ بِأَنَّ لَهُمُ الْجَنَّةِ. Allah bought your life and your wealth. In return, you get paradise. Let me repeat this. Allah had a transaction with you. Allah said, you live your life, eat the yummy food, wear the nice dress, have the fun, get the best job, get the best score in the school, no problem. But do certain things which I ask you to do, and do not do certain things which I tell you not to do. If you do that for my pleasure, in return you get nothing but paradise. Nothing but paradise. Nothing but paradise. For the Muslim, you have incentive to do things which other people don't. Now, I don't know, maybe people who are too young, they may not even understand that. But people who are a little older than, I'm just going to make a point so you can take home certain information. I'm sure you saw ice cubes, right? If you put ice cubes on the street in summertime, right? Do you think what's going to happen to the ice? In a sunny day, it's going to melt. It's going to melt pretty fast, right? It's going to melt pretty fast. And you can't stop it. Life is a melting ice. Last year you were 5 years old, this year you're 6. Last year you were 16, this year you're 17. Last year you were 34, this year you're 35, and those who met 79, this year you're 80 years old. Life is a function of time. It's only moving forward. This Sunday will never come back in your life again. You lost it. This Sunday will never come. Previous Sunday will never come. Like this, many things we had, we lost it. Will not last forever. This life is not going to last forever. So while you have fun, which is okay to have, enjoy yourself, okay to do within certain boundaries, but we need to make sure that we do something for Allah also. At the end of the day, He gave His life to us. He's going to take it back from us. At the end of the day, He's going to ask us about our responsibilities towards Him. If you remember the companions, Sahaba radiallahu ta'ala anhum, can anybody name any of them? Any of the companions you know names? You know? Any name of the companions? Anyone? You know any of the companions' name? You don't? Okay. Now, I'm sure you know Ishai to say. That's fine. Now, if knowing the companions, knowing the Quran, the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. Now if I ask you, how many computer games do you know? Or those who into cars, how many names of cars you can give? Or if you're talking about brand names of clothing, how many of them you can give? If you can't give me a long list of 10, you better know at least more than 10 names of companions, because they are the best of the people. Among the human population, they're the best of the people. So I got to know about the best. So as a Muslim, if I'm not giving due initiative for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, learning these basics, we are going to have problems. But Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam talked about you people. If you don't know about the seerah of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because the age of the people varies here, maybe from 7 to all the way up. So this is not a homogeneous population to discuss various things, because some will be appropriate for some people, may not be for others. Anybody know about the name of Imam Bukhari? Anybody know? From the young kids, obviously. Anybody know? Yes? Do you know how many years ago, when did he die? An estimate. Anybody? Hijri 256, right? This is close to 1200 years. It is close to 1200 years. I didn't go to school with him, that's for sure. So why do I know him? You know how many billionaires died in 50 years ago? We don't know the names, but we know about Imam Bukhari. He's not a Sahabi, I'm talking about somebody much later generation. Imam Bukhari, Imam Muslim, why do I know him? He's not from the same language, same culture, same country, same time zone, same nothing. But I know him because his contribution to the religion of Islam. Why don't you know Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha? Because her contribution to this religion. Why do you know Abu Huraira? Anybody heard the name Abu Huraira before? He was a companion. He was a companion. For your information, he did not have a Mercedes-Benz. He was extremely poor. He was extremely poor that he didn't have a place to live in. He didn't have a place to live in. What do you call in English? Person doesn't have a place to live in? Homeless. But not like other people here. Don't get me wrong. But homeless. Doesn't have a home to stay. But why do I honor him now? He's not the richest man, most educated, most strongest, not the famous. Why do I remember him? He died 1400 years ago. I remember him because his contribution to the deen of Allah, to this religion. He lived like a good Muslim. So what contribution will you make to the Islam, to this religion? So people will remember you 100 years from now, 200 years from now. You need to think, you need to plan about it. Now let me tell you another thing before I conclude the matter. All of us like nice clothing, nice food, nice house, nice furniture, the brand name phones and brand name computers, right? Let me tell you, the brand name phone you had, many people are obsessed with it. You had, for example, I don't know which phone they had 5 years ago, top of the line, something, Apple, whatever, right? 5 years ago. Now that is obsolete. There will be embarrassment to walk with that phone, which is 5 years old. At least for the young people. They said, this phone been 5 years old, he's still carrying it. So whatever was an importance, utmost importance 5 years ago, only as a matter of 5 years turned to nothing. What was an icon of glory and respect 5 years ago, 5 years later that has become an embarrassment for you to carry. And this is this life. The shirt you had, that the first day you opened what is so nice, after 6 months, this is raggedy clothes, throw in the trash can. This is this life. It is so short. And things are so spontaneous. It stays there today, tomorrow is not there. So therefore, we should not be too connected to this life, to the glamour and glory of this life. Nothing wrong having it, getting too attached to it is problematic. Why? One of the problem, people like to show off. You like to show to the other people what you have. But may I suggest this, Allah also wants you to show something to Him. Allah and His Prophet also wants you to show off to them. Allah wants you to show Him that you get up at night, one night, 2 in the morning, pray 2 rakats for His pleasure. Allah said, I want to see it, show me off too a little bit. Show me off. Whatever you showed off 5 years ago with your phone, today has no value, no image of it, it's gone. To Allah, the good deed you did 5 years ago, it is still in the record. It is still in the record. Not only it is in the record, you'll be rewarded for it. The Apple phone you carried and impressed all your friends 5 years ago, nobody's impressed with that today. It's not. It is just a waste. In that sense, whatever do for Allah, whatever sacrifice, contribution, effort in learning and practicing you do, you have a reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So my point is this: any intelligent person, any logical person will accept the thing which is permanent in return which is temporary. Because this is short term and this is forever. What will you take? Forever. May Allah reward you. Now, so young generation, for example, Muhammad Ali, rahimahullah, used to be a boxer. He fought with Joe Frazier and all these people. One time, I looked at one of the videos many years ago when he was 20. His speed, energy, the way he talked, right? Today, everything is over. All the name and fame is down the drain, is gone. I'm not saying not to get them, but not to be obsessed with it. Not to make it your goal. You can have it, but that can be your goal. Because your goal is loving Allah and His Prophet. Doing things for the pleasure of this deen. And Allah will honor you in this life and hereafter. Allah will honor you on Day of Judgment. People in the dunya will honor you. Let me tell you something. When somebody do something for the pleasure of Allah, you are beloved to Allah. You are honored by Allah. And Day of Judgment, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to say, Salamun qawlam min Rabbi Rahim. Day of Judgment, Allah will give you salam, the Lord of the worlds. To conclude the matter, imagine the president of the country comes to you, shakes your hand. Imagine the president of the country comes, you don't go. He comes to you and shakes your hand. I don't know if you want to shake this president, but beside the point, in case you end up shaking his hand, right? Like you feel like really pumped up. And if you don't, the news media will make it for you. Next day you go to the school, the principal comes to you. What did you do? Why did he come to your house? I mean, how can you become so important? You are not important. Because an important person came to you, that made you important. Allah, the Lord of the worlds, is giving you salam in Day of Judgment. Imagine what level of importance that will give it to you. Whole world looks at you. Why Muhammad and Fatima is been rewarded in welcome by Allah, the Lord of the worlds. Allah said, "Ujuhu yawmaidin nadara ila rabbiha nadara." Your faces will be enlightened, bright, joyful, happy, because you'll be looking at Allah, the Lord of the worlds. You'll not be looking at the mayor, the congressman, or the president. No, you're looking at Allah, the Lord of the worlds. President, the max 8 years. After the 8 years is over, you're out of the spotlight. Nobody even listens to you anymore. You are not important because you don't have the power. Allah has power forever. He's powerful. He was powerful. He'll remain powerful. He's in control. He was, He is, and He will be. He is the Lord of the world. Not only His control, He created us and He sustains us. He's in full control. And He tells you salutation. He welcomes you. Imagine the immense amount of joy that gives you. In addition to that, the angels will do the same. Surah 39, Surah Zumar. Allah, the angels in the door of the paradise will say, Salamun alaykum, tibtum, fadkhuluha khalidin. Peace be upon to you, welcome, good job, well done, come into the paradise. Allah said, Jazahum bima sabaru jannata wa harira. Your reward because you are patient in this life. You are obedient to Allah. When your friends are not praying, you took 5 minutes out of your fun time, made wudu, and you went to the corner. He said, I have obligation to my Lord. He wants me to pray and I want to pray. He loves me. I want to show that I love Him too. I love Him too. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves me, so I'm going to pray. Friends are mocking and laughing at you. You be patient with that. Your reward is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Another point to note, I think they will discuss this later. When people laugh at you, I'll tell you some good news so you can carry with you. Anybody laughs at you because you're Muslim, you should recite this verse and think about it. So please pay attention. Anybody laughs at you because you're Muslim, you practice Islam, and you feel sad about it, then Allah says in the Quran, Al-yawma alladhina amanu min al-kuffari yadhakun. Day of Judgment, you get the final laugh. Today they're laughing at you, mocking at you, you people this and that. Be patient. They laughed at you also, laughing at you, they laughed at the Prophet ﷺ. They abused the Prophet. They knocked him out cold, Prophet ﷺ. Knock out cold means punch somebody, loses his senses. Such level of torture he went through, and we're not going through that. So what is the problem? They're laughing at you, you will get your final laugh back in Day of Judgment. Their laugh is for 6 months, 6 years, 10 years maximum. And your laugh is forever. So you get the final say. Why don't you want it? If you want it, you have to work for it. And Allah loves you. Please show your love for sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by being obedient to Him. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to guide us and forgive us and cover our deficiencies. Brothers who came late, I'm going to wrap up what I started with. Quick connection, what Brother Mahmood gave an introduction with the PowerPoint, what is Tawheed is about. This Tawheed organization, alhamdulillah, started just maybe last year, out of the concern that in certain communities you do not have any place, any programs, any dynamics to work with the young generation. So older people making Hajj and Umrah every year and their children going somewhere else. I mean, what is the point? I better have a car with 4 old tires than 3 new tires and 1 busted tire. What do I mean? I need at least a functional vehicle. Old tire, new tire doesn't mean. This nation Muslim nation need to be functional. You are not going to be here after 50 years. Who is going to run the masjid? Many people said that we bought a synagogue. In Bronx there's a masjid I go there. They bought a synagogue because there's no people can support the place. They bought a church, made it a masjid. Why? There's no people to support that place, so they have to sell it. The Muslims making masajid 10-story, 15-story, I fear, Allah knows the best, I fear unless we actively work hard, this investment may go down the drain because there will be nobody there to protect those places, support those places. Many people come from Muslim countries, you are used to growing up listening to the adhan. So one of the things the parents don't understand, you grow up in a Muslim country where Eid day was a holiday. So kids come out in the street, you can see this is Eid day. There is no way you can miss it. Ramadan, you cannot miss it. Time for Dhuhr, you can't hide it because the adhan from every corner of the town. But you live in a country, it is different. But you got your upbringing and training from your country. So you have something within your heart already there. The engine is there. Even though it's not functioning right, but engine is there. So you slow, but it's still moving somewhat. You have some soft corner to the religion. At least if not the religion in true sense, at least to the culture of the religion. Guess what? Your children growing up in a country never hear adhan. Eid is not a national holiday. School is full of non-Muslims. Environment is counterproductive. The society is corrupt, drugs, other immoral acts, so they are lost. I don't blame them. We are to be blamed because we are responsible for them. Another ayat of Hijrah, many people tell me that, brother, what can I do? We live in a place like this. What can you do? Let me tell you 2 options. You better, not for the kids, for the parents, you better act like Muslims because you choose to come here on your own. You choose to come on your own. And secondly, if you can't practice your religion, Allah says, Alam takun ardullahi wasiya fatuhajiru fiha. Is not the word of Allah, earth of Allah so spacious. Move to another land where you can practice your religion. Another town, another state. Oh, go some other place. Go to Venezuela or whatever works for you. But this is not an act, a defense against these acts. Unless we practice our religion, we have to find alternatives where you can practice the religion. Brothers and sisters, if you look at this, you came with an ambition, hope in life, work double shift, I need some money, I'm going to start up. Now I have money, I have a business, I need a car, I have one house, now I need the second one, then I need this, I need that, my children has to do this. You have hopes after hopes. That's good, but what is your responsibility in this life? Do you think Allah created us to eat? You know, animals eat, right? They sleep too. So Allah didn't create us just for those purposes. We have a higher objective, a higher goal. وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. We came here for a purpose. Surah Zariyat, Surah number 51, verse 56. Allah said we came for a purpose. Most of us lost it. So it's not an excuse. You need to come back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Either we support this cause or go to a place where you don't have to support a cause like this. Go to a Muslim country, for example, if you can, go to Saudi Arabia where government fund everything, every educational institution, that's fine. But if you live in a place where the government doesn't fund it, then you have to fund it. You don't want to fund it here? Fine. You don't want to support this one, Tawheed? You open Ahl Sunnah, another one, yourself. And believe it, I will go there support you. I'll probably give you maybe $1, no problem, but I will give something. But my point is this, wherever there is effort to encourage and support and culture the next generation so they can revive this religion in this land and keep up the masajid so people don't have to sell it, make them synagogue again. Because if nobody go there, or the retired person die, and the young people are in Yankee Stadium whole day doing games or partying at night or thinking about big houses and cars, that's all they're thinking about, they're not going to care about the masjid. Why are they going to care? You tell me, why are they going to care? You care because you grew up hearing adhan. You care because maybe somebody in the home hold your hand, took you to the masjid when you're small. But this generation, who's going to support them? Who is their support? Where is the encouragement? None. So expecting a miracle to happen is not going to work. So we have to support them. Therefore, one of the things we are doing here, starting young generation will be supporting this place for Tawheed Foundation. We are about to buy a place. We initially intended to buy a massive place which cost more than millions, which we don't have, and dreaming that will be like being over ambitious. So at this point Allah blessed us with a person who says willing to sell our place to us, a place which is 2.5 times of this size or something like that. At the beginning stage it cost about $600,000 to $700,000, and by the mercy of Allah, Allah softened his heart. He said he's willing to sell it maybe less than $400,000 to us, because this is a religious activity. The person says he also wants some hasanat out of it. That's why the person said that I will sell you less price. So the person expects some reward from Allah. If the person can make the price almost half of it, that's a tremendous sacrifice in terms of business. Now the person is securing their akhirah, their paradise, their love of Allah. Now you and I have to do something to be equal to him, or at least close to the person. I can give 300,000. If you can give 30,000, fine. Brother, I can give 30,000. Can you give 3,000? No, I can't give 3,000. Can I give 500? Brother, I don't even have. All I have is $5. And now I'm being serious now. If you have $5, that's all you have, and you have the sincerity and love of Allah, that $5 means much more than a corrupt person donation of $5 million. Because guess what? If Allah was dependent on $5, then people of Mecca who started Islamic da'wah, they will be annihilated. Because money didn't mean much. Money did not mean much. But this is a token to show obedience and gratefulness and love to Allah. That's why He gave it. Allah's din will flourish by itself. Wallahu mutimmu nurihi walau karihal kafirun. Allah will make this religion perfect whether Muhammad and Fatima shows up for or not. If Muhammad and Fatima don't show up, Allah will send angels. وَمَا يَعْلَمُ جُنُودَ رَبِّكَ إِلَّا هُوَ. Allah will send things, soldiers, which you do not know about. The bottom line is this: it is for our need, we need to do it. It is not need of Allah. It is Allah's need. No, it is our need. So if we do something, we get blessings for it. If you don't do, we'll be deprived of it. This will need $400,000. We'll try to close by December or January, i.e., inshallah within the next 3 months. Hopefully, we'll try to close it. If Allah wills, if it doesn't work out, we'll try something else. But if that works out, which we're trying, it will need additional $150,000 or a little less than that, something like that. We don't know the exact details. We have a ballpark figure. So we need about $150,000. We have 275 now. We have, this means people like this, and excitingly say that sisters made the majority donation. SubhanAllah, this is really surprising. You know, let me give them some due credit. I've been doing this, I started lecture in 1995, I remember that day. So it's about 23 years. Before that, did it on a smaller scale, but officially started about 23 years ago. I started. Till that day, I never heard any program, any programs the sisters had more contribution to the brothers. Allah is my witness, this is the first time I ever heard this. Let me repeat. This is the first time I ever heard sisters came before the brothers in doing khair. So may Allah reward them, I welcome them. You know, this is with Allah, them and Allah. It is between them and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Allah said, وَمَا تُنْفِقُ مِنْ شَيْءٍ فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ بِعَلِيمٍ. And then ayat Allah said, لَن تَنَالُوا الْبِرَّ حَتَّى تُنْفِقُوا مِمَّا تُحِبُّونَ. Ayat before that. I must touch this. Prophet ﷺ gave a lecture in Yawm Eid, day of Eid, a khutbah. After that he went to the female sisters, gave a special lecture to them. After the lecture, Bilal ibn Abi Rabah radiallahu ta'ala was there. He gave a lecture and did some collection. And the women radiallahu ta'ala anhunna, they gave up their jewelries, their rings, their necklace for the pleasure of Allah Azza wa Jalla. And there is another time I have to say the women superseded the men. There's another time. So our sisters did that, may Allah reward them. And this is really very emotional to me when I see somebody open up their watch and ring, give for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jalla. That shows something else. It's not same as giving money. Maybe that thing costs less, but the emotional attachment, opening up a ring from your hand and dropping, disconnecting from the body for the pleasure of Allah. This is another emotional thing. That's another discussion. That's very, very emotional and very sensitive. Like somebody must be loving Allah so much, don't have anything to give from the pocket. I open my jacket and drop in a bucket. I said, sell that. I don't have anything else. Imagine the love, intense love, the person manifests in front of Allah. And we're sitting down daydreaming. And brothers, simple point blank, you have to give some support, money or otherwise. Right? I said concluding, so this is the last, I am concluding now. We'll distribute some pledge forms, some donation forms and so on and so forth. Please sign it. Now I know you have to pay the bill next month. You're building a house, it takes $50,000. You're buying a lot, it's $200,000. Those responsibilities remain. Brother, I thought once I finish one thing, that will be the end of it. Another thing came up. I'm talking about personal life, right? I said, when that is done, I'll be over with. Third thing came up. So I realized life is a fake thing. Allah said, وَمَا الْحَيَاةُ الدُّنْيَا إِلَّا مَتَاعُ الْغُرُورِ. This life is nothing but a deception. So one after another stories come in, I'm engaged with that, I'm forgetting Allah. And don't forget Allah. وَلَا تَكُونُوا كَالَّذِينَ نَسُوا اللَّهَ فَأَنْسَاهُمْ أَنفُسَهُمْ أُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْفَاسِقُونَ. Don't be like those, they forgot Allah. Allah make them forget themselves. They are the fasiq. May Allah protect us from it. So brothers, donate. I know you need the money. There is no point being stingy. You know why? The moment you die, the moment the nurse, the doctor came in, checked the pulse, and said the person is out. I'm sorry, put a white cloth on your face. Allahu musta'an. I mean, every person needs to think this. I mean, we are so far off, no offense, we're so far off from the reality. We into so much in a bubble, in a fake, phony world, forget the reality, what real things is supposed to mean. Al-mawtu haqq, death is real. No person in their sane mind will say, no, I don't believe in death. You don't believe in death? Let's come to the hospital, to the morgue, and let me show you some people. So you better believe in death. It's just a matter of time. I thought last night to give you an example of death. All of you say, facing me forward. What is happening in the back, you do not know. You don't. If I blindfold you, which is somebody waiting in the back, one person is going to die next 15 minutes. We don't know who. Imagine the tension each person sitting here will go through. Somebody's coming from the back, in the next 15 minutes I will die. One of them will die. What is the chance? This is me. How many people in the room? 300. 1 out of 300 chance that I may die next 15 minutes. So 299 chance that I may not die. So still it's a good sign, good chance, good odd. So you're just waiting and you still feel tense in the back. What if the person come from the back and just kill me? See the tension. Wallahi, Malak al-Maut is like that. You just don't feel scared about it. That's the only difference. Because people die in the train, people die in a soccer field, people die in a baseball field. Just die, drop dead, people call it heart attack, people call it stroke. This is just a convention, just a name, just a label. Point is, you're dying, and it can happen any moment. Stroke, you just gone. So it may happen to any one of us. It happened to people before us, and we think, maybe them, not me. What is the guarantee? None. So while you have the wealth, please use them for the sake of Allah. Don't leave the money for people who may abuse it and waste it. Prophet ﷺ said in a hadith, whom of you like somebody else, your children, to have your wealth? Most of the people said, I love to have it myself. Whatever you eat today, whatever the clothing you're wearing today, whatever car you're driving today, whatever food you eat, that's all is yours. You consumed it. Whatever in your bank account, it has your name on it, yes, as long as you're living. The moment you're not breathing, the name will transfer to somebody else. That's not yours. So let us put something for Allah for the day of judgment in the account of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We ask Allah azza wa jal to give us the tawfiq. Subhanak Allahumma bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa ant. Astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Inshallah, it's 1:40 right now, and we have about an hour left of the program. So after the program, inshallah, we make Delowar. We can make Delowar here, or there's a masjid right down the block, Haque camp. We can make it over there. So we have about an hour left of the program. So please be patient with us. Our next speaker is Brother Abdullah Hossain. He's an electrical engineer, and he's in graduate school right now. He's also a Hafiz of Quran, and he actually gives khutbah in different massages. So inshallah, he'll take the mic right now. And again, we'll finish an hour from now, and we'll have Salatul time for Salatul Dhuhr after, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه واتبع هداه أما بعد. Brothers, I'm going to stand inshallah because I'm about to fall asleep. So I need to stand so I can speak to you. And second, I feel that when a speaker sits down, it erects a barrier between him and the audience. And there isn't free movement, so I cannot deliver the message as clearly as I want to. So inshallah, I'll be standing here if that's not a problem with you guys. And thirdly, that inshallah we'll finish the program a little bit earlier, around 2:40. So you can make Salat al-Dhuhr in the masjid that is around the corner. Inshallah, so there will be enough time. In certain cases, it is okay to delay the Salah as long as you pray within the proper time frame. So inshallah, there's no worries about that. I see there are a lot of young kids. I thought that I was going to be speaking mainly to older kids, meaning college-going students, high school students. But a lot of them are just 7th grade, 8th grade students. So I'm going to try to tone down the level of talk so they can understand. If you guys can pay attention, if you guys can eat, but just please remain civil and calm and quiet, please. It's just food. Okay, if you can raise your hand, who goes to a public school? Who goes to public school? Please raise your hand. Everyone, please raise your hand. Who goes to public school? Okay, who goes to Islamic school? So the rest of you don't go to school? Yeah, please, like, take it serious. Who goes to public school? Raise your hand, everyone. Okay, see. Who goes to Islamic school? Okay. You guys have friends, right, in school? You have friends. You're not left alone by yourself. Am I right? You have friends, I hope. You're not a social outcast. You interact with your teachers, you interact with your fellow students. And if you go to public school, more often than not, they are non-Muslims who are your friends. Am I correct? Yes? They are non-Muslims. And you are a Muslim. And they know you are a Muslim based on the way you look, based on the way you dress. So you have to project an image which is proper, a proper reflection of who? Yourself, of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Correct? You have to project an authentic image of Islam. Now if you end up swearing like they swear, if you end up doing the same things that they do, if you end up listening to the same things that they listen to, if you drink, meaning wine, not just any drink, if you drink like the way they drink, then what is different between you and those who are not you? What is different between you as a Muslim and them as a non-Muslim? Why are you any better than them? You simply wear a hijab or you simply have a beard, but you do the same exact things that they do. The same exact evil things that they do. So what is the difference between you and them? Is there any difference? No, right? So you have a lot of friends. I hope you have a lot of friends. Some of them may be Muslim, some of them may be non-Muslim. It is very important for you, those who are going to public school. You guys go to public school? You guys? Okay, because you guys didn't raise your hand the first time. You guys go to public school, so you guys have non-Muslim friends. And more often than not, they probably try to convince you to do something which is not allowed in Islam. It is called what? Peer pressure. Peer pressure, right? Peer pressure. You heard of this term, peer pressure. What does peer pressure lead you to do? Many times, peer pressure, the students or their friends, they do drugs, they smoke, they drink wine, they swear, they listen to music, they watch this and that. And you as a Muslim, you feel as an outcast because you can't do those same things that they do. And as a human being, humans are social creatures. They like to fit in. They like to be part of a group. They have a circle. They don't want to be the outcast. They don't want to look awkward. So, if all your friends are doing a certain thing, if all your friends wear a certain type of clothing, or they have, for the sisters maybe, they have a certain type of purse. For the brothers, they have a certain type of sneaker. Or they drive a certain type of car, and your car is junk. They're driving a Benz, and you're coming through with, a Dodge Neon, or a Corolla, or a Camry, and everybody else around you, they're driving a certain type of car, and you feel like, you pull into the parking lot, and you see in 5 Benz all parked in a row, and then you pull in between the 2 Benzes with your dirty-looking Camry, right? A lot of youth, a lot of guys, they take pride in their car, which is really like foolish, because they take pride in their possessions. They feel important because of what they own, because of an object, not of what they are of their own selves, right? You guys, if you guys buy a nice-looking car, you guys would feel like I'm all this and that. But that's really foolish because, your car doesn't define who you are, right? Your car doesn't define who you are. Only you define who you are. And secondly, your friends don't define who you are either. So why you always have to be a follower? Do not be a follower. Be a leader. Be different from them. Why do you have to follow what your friends may tell you to do? Something evil. They may not always tell you to do good things. Some friends may tell you to do good things. Sometimes they may not tell you to do good things. Sometimes you yourself may tell them to do bad things, right? I'm saying that your friends are telling you to do bad things. The same way I am talking bad about your friends, or being a bit negative about them, being a bit skeptical about your friends, they're probably saying the same thing about you. Their parents are probably telling their kids, you have a lot of Muslims in your class, stay away from them. They're a little different from us. They don't like Christians, they don't like Jews. They want to make buildings disappear, and they want, like different things. The same way I'm telling you things about them, that you have to be careful about them. They're probably doing the same thing about you, right? I mean, everybody is a parent. Everyone has, the kids. They're worried about their kids, so they're gonna always be restrictive about who their kids deal with, right? So the same way, you may be telling them, I'm blaming them that they're telling you to do bad things, but it could be the other way around, that you're the source of all the evil, even with your hijab or your beard or whatever that makes you look like a Muslim. Even with all that, you may be the very thing that I am preaching against. Meaning that you as a Muslim, maybe the Christians are better than you. And actually I know a couple of them who are exactly what a Muslim should be, besides the lack of Tawheed, but the akhlaq that they have and the regulations that they follow from their book, the real regulations, they're actually more of a Muslim than someone who preaches to be a Muslim. Really, that is the case. They stick to like I know Muslims unfortunately who drink in college. I know people who drink and who have done drugs and smoke, and they're Muslims, and they claim they're Muslims. I don't understand how is that possible, but there are many things that your friends may have pressured you into do. The main thing that little kids, especially like these kids here, they are in school 10 hours, 8 to 10 hours a day, which means at least 40 hours a week. How many hours are in a week? 24 times 7, it's about 168, 68-ish, 168. You guys are math geniuses, right? 168. So if I spend 40, 50 hours a week, I'm spending in school, I'm spending 1/3 of my life in school, right? 1/3 of the week in school, 1/3 of my life basically, right? So you're surrounded by your friends for almost 1/3 of your life. And then the other 8 hours, you come home and you sleep. Hopefully you get 8 hours, most people don't. So you spend another 1/3 of your life sleeping. Then you have another 1/3 of your life, you do your homework, play games, and what have you. So how much time really are you spending with an environment which is supportive of Muslims, an environment which is supportive of Islam? Maybe the only time you actually walk into an environment which is non-hostile to Muslims is a masjid. And a masjid you only go for 10 minutes for salat and you walk out. And then you become John or Joe outside. You can't even tell that you're a Muslim, unfortunately. The thing is, when a non-Muslim, when a Muslim can't even tell you're a Muslim, then there's a problem. And I'm not talking about appearance, even though that is one aspect. I'm not talking about symbols. When a Muslim can't tell you're a Muslim, meaning your action is so bad that you are worse than a non-believer, then that is very sad. There's something fundamentally wrong. And I happen to know Muslims who, they don't make salahs, they're Muslims by the fact that they claim that there was only one Allah. So they have Tawheed in their heart, but the practice part is completely gone. So Rasulullah ﷺ said that whoever claims there's La ilaha illallah, that there's only one God, no Lord besides Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he's a Muslim. Whether the scholars differ about whether they make salah or not, but if he claims there's Tawheed, there's Muslim. But that's the only thing that makes him Muslim. Other than that, he is not any different from anybody else he goes to school with. He's not any different. And that is a very sad thing, because why? His friends probably brainwashed him. You go to the same schooling system for 12 years. What can you expect from someone who is in a non-Muslim society for this long? Do you think that he's going to come out to become like Abu Bakr? Now, like my father, he was the one who was speaking here before me. He was saying the first step is Islamic school. That is absolutely right, but that is not the only thing. And he made that very clear. Why? Because I went to an Islamic schooling system, and it is not perfect. Even there they have problems. But I'm going to tell you why they have problems. People like to use this as an excuse to play smart and say, Islamic school has problems too, so I'm not going to send my kids to Islamic school. No, I'll tell you why there's problem. There's problem because when the kids from public school get messed up, they bring them back to Islamic school, and that's how they mess up the Islamic school. More often than not, that is what happens. And I know people, they stayed in Islamic school until 8th grade, then they ended up going to the specialized high school, they started drinking and doing drugs. They started drinking. They are drunkards. They're alcoholics. Drugs and other things which I don't need to get into because of little kids here. And then their parents bring them back from the school because the kids is gone. Some of them already got arrested 10 times. Locked up now because he's a big drug dealer in Bay Ridge. You know Brooklyn, Bay Ridge? Drug dealers. Muslims, Arabs. Why? This is happening in Islamic school because the kids already got corrupted outside of the system. And because the parents are so desperate now, they bring them back to Islamic school. That's because you allowed them to mix with the wrong group of people. Who likes playing games here? Games. Video games, console games, PS, Xbox. Really? Nobody else likes playing games? Come on. I'm sure even some of the older guys like playing games. Even if they don't understand games, they like watching their own kids play. Okay. So that's another obsession. That is another obsession. At least it's better than, the other stuff, drinking and stuff. Let me tell you something from personal experience. In my time, I'm still young too, but in the 90s, you guys remember Nintendo 64? That was like old stuff, right? They had this other one named Sega or something like that. But the first console system that I had was a PS1. That came out, I think, 95 or not. Japan gets it a couple of years before US gets it. These Asians are on top of the line, right? So they had it before us, but I think the first console system I had was a PS1. That box-looking one. Now you got that nice, shiny, slim PS4, Kirby, whatever. But we had a PS1. But we were only allowed to play it twice a year. I'll tell you which. Now my parents got a little more relaxed because, we're not kids anymore. But we're only allowed to play it twice a year because we had discipline in the house. But some other kids I know, that's all they do, just games and games and games. And because now multiplayer is there, before this thing wasn't there, the internet has made so many things possible. Back then multiplayer wasn't there, so you just have to play by yourself or wait till your friend would come over to your house and then he'll pick up the second controller and fight. But now multiplayer, you don't need someone to come to your house. You could have over the internet and you just burst, right? You have people in one arena, Black Ops, 50, 60 people just all shooting each other to hell, right? That's all you do. Just shoot each other to hell, and that's how you win. Okay. So we were only allowed to play a PS1 twice a year. We had so much discipline. I'm going to tell you, so strict discipline. Only on the two Eids. Only in Eid al-Fitr and Eid al-Adha. We used to look forward to the Eids, really not because it was a Muslim holiday, but that too, but because we knew that was our chance to play the console. Then after that, it was locked away. It was locked away. We would never see it again, right? And because of that discipline, we're not obsessed, at least I know in my family, we're not obsessed with useless things. Now, of course, you need to play games once in a while. You need to lay off sometimes. You need to let out some steam, right? You need to let out some steam. We're not machines. We're not Terminators that just run a code and just keep doing it over and over, without any sense. No, we need to play around and stuff. But to some people, they have diseases now. I could guarantee you, if they were taken to a mental, professional, he would be diagnosed with some mental issue because this guy is in front of a computer screen or a TV screen for like 18 hours a day. This guy doesn't even sleep. This is the thing. Now, at least that's better than, doing drugs and stuff. But even that's got to be under control. That everything has a balance. You have to have a balance. You're a Muslim first. If you're busy playing games and then you use that as an excuse to skip your salah, well, that's another thing. The people who go to public school, the salah is a very, very hard issue. Even in college. College is much more easier to deal with because, they don't treat you like little kids. You have flexibility. You can leave the class whenever you need to, come back whenever you need to, sort of. But especially Salat al-Jum'ah. The punishment, what happens when someone misses. So anyone who's above age 10, it's falled on him to make Jum'ah. 100%. There's no exception. Absolutely no exception. Anyone who is above age 10 has to make Jum'ah. No exception. Now, I don't know, I'm not in the schooling system, been out of the school system for almost, public school system for I don't know how long. But I don't know what the regulations is about the prayers and stuff, but I as far as I am aware, you have some flexibility or some rights which can make it easier for you, maybe not 100%, but make it somewhat easier for you to make your prayers in the school. or they should at least let you out for 30 minutes or, you know, whatever the time is. If not, you could speak to your parents, to speak to whoever's in charge, the principal or the superintendent or someone to speak to you, you know, make it easier for you to go for Jum'ah. Because the hadith says, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala seals the heart of the person who misses 3 consecutive Jum'ah. You know that. Or if you don't, you should know now, because it's not a joke. If Allah seals your heart, then it's game over. What does it mean when Allah seals your heart? It means no more guidance can enter into your heart. And what happens when no guidance enters your heart? It means you're a person of hellfire. You die in guaranteed hell because you don't have no guidance. That's what Allah says about the hypocrites in Surah Al-Baqarah. إِنَّ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا سَوَاءٌ عَلَيْهِمْ أَنذَرْتُمْ أَمْ لَمْ تُنذِرْهُمْ لَا يُؤْمِنُونَ وَخَتَمَ اللَّهُ عَلَى قُلُوبِهِمْ وَعَلَى سَمْعِهِمْ وَعَلَى أَبْصَارِهِمْ غِشَاوَةٌ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala seal their hearts and their eyes and their ears. فَلَهُمْ عَذَابٌ عَظِيمٌ. So that they will have a eternal, severe punishment. So even, you know, parents may think, oh, my son is a little kid, or my daughter's a little kid, you know, 10, 11, 12. No, he's not little. He's not little, absolutely not. He's not little. He has to make Jum'ah, she has to make Jum'ah. You have to figure out a way. I just remembered this now off the head. Because alhamdulillah, I didn't have to go to that problem in high school or public middle school or whatever because I went through an Islamic school. That is one of the advantages of going through an Islamic schooling system. You don't have to worry about the salah or the segregation. That's another thing. Gender segregation, very important thing. In this schooling system, it is a norm to have co-education. But just because it's a norm doesn't mean it's allowed. Now some things we have become so used to it, we think it's okay, when it's not okay. This is not the normal state of validity, normal state of halal. This is not halal. It is the norm, but it's not halal. So you cannot get used to it. Now even in my first year of college, I had one class. It was a really ridiculous class, very useless class. It was during Jum'ah, specifically during Jum'ah, 1 to 150. And you know the rule, at least in undergraduate, I don't know about graduate school now, I don't think they have that rule. But in undergrad, if you miss like 3 days or something, you know, you automatically fail the course. Automatically fail the course. And some classes, because they know that people will not show up, maybe because it's an English class or political science class, something which is not technical, which is not too hard to understand, you don't really need the professor to be there to explain things to you. They know that people are not going to most likely show up. So that is why those classes are the ones where they have mandatory attendance to force people, to force the students to show up. Right? Your teacher takes attendance in class? Does she call out your name and she takes check, X? Yeah, see? Little kids. They understand. So that class was specifically during 1 to 150. And it was a big problem. So what we did was, we got 3 people. Me, another friend of mine, another Muslim friend of mine, and a Chinese friend. He's not Muslim. The Chinese guy's not Muslim. So what we made an arrangement, right? Now you have to come up with some, some workarounds. You have to. You're a Muslim. You put yourself in this position, or you're facing some certain hardship. You have to figure out a way. You cannot just sit there as if things will get solved for you just out of the blue. No. So we made an arrangement. We said this. So my Muslim friend, he will take attendance. We rotate through the attendance. So we sign in our names. So he will show up. He will stay in the Jum'ah, in the khutbah, and he will show up at 1:45 exactly, because we know Salah starts 1:50 in the MSA. Salah starts 1:50 and it's in another building. So you need at least 5-minute lead time to get your name signed in before the professor leaves. Otherwise, it's as if you were never in the class. So 1:45, we will stay in the Jum'ah until 1:45. And as soon as 1:45, 1:44 hits the clock, we run to the other building, quickly sign our name, and come back in. Go back for Jum'ah. And we rotate it like this. Every Jum'ah, one person would take care of the other 2 people. So I would go in one Jum'ah, sign in my name, my friend's name, and the other guy's name, and you could get in trouble if they catch you signing in other people's names. Many professors, they're smart. Like my father, he's also very smart. He knows these games because he's also a professor. Some students, they sign in other people's names. And the professor knows, but he doesn't really care, it doesn't matter. But some professors, they'll actually sit there and count. And matter of fact, last week, my professor, he's Egyptian Muslim, right? He caught a student signing in 2 other people's names. So he actually sat down and counted, and he passed the attendance sheet around again, and he said, cross out the names of whoever's not there now. I'm not going to look. He faced to the board, and he said, I'm not going to look. So whoever did it, just cross it out. I'm not going to get in trouble, but just cross it out. So, it's not an easy thing, but you have to come up with workarounds, So if you can't make Jum'ah in your public school, you have to think about it. You have to seriously think about it. And your parents cannot take it lightly. It is not a light issue. And if your parents make it a light issue, that's very sad on the parents first. Absolutely sad. Because these are the same parents who will come when you're 20 years old and go up to the imam and say, you know, my son makes Allah anymore. My son doesn't believe in Allah anymore. You know, now in school, they teach you to question everything. Question everything, the scientific mind. So they even program you to question whether Allah exists. Right? I don't know if maybe you guys are too young to understand that, but they even tell you to start questioning if Allah exists. You know, the Big Bang Theory and stuff. There may be some truth to it. I don't know. I'm not from that field. There may be some truth, a little bit here and there. I don't know. But they're trying to remove Allah from the equation. This is a systematic degradation of belief in what? In a deity. Right? Marxism. You know Marxism? Communism. Remove all traces of faith. This is slowly coming. And your kids, you kids, you guys don't even understand what's happening. You guys are being programmed to denounce any presence or trace of a being, a deity. You know, it's one thing to be a Christian which acknowledges some superior being. It's another thing to be agnostic, to at least, you know, you don't worship God, but you at least acknowledge there's some higher superior being. But to be an atheist where you said no, now no God, nothing, that is what they're leading your kids to. Kids, do you guys understand what I'm saying? Yeah? They're trying to, some people, they're trying to slowly make you forget about Allah. Right? The person that you make, the being that you make salah to 5 times a day, they're trying to tell you that that guy does not exist. That's what they're trying to teach you slowly. So you have to pay attention to these kind of things. The other thing is, little kids, not even little kids, even high schoolers, they're always worried about brand name fashion. It was the case during my time. I think it is still the case now. Are you guys wearing Jordans right now? Okay. Anybody wearing Jordans here? Huh? Sandals? Yeah, I don't know what that is. Okay. We're in America, so you gotta wear American flip-flops. So, the thing is, they were always worried about, you know, like literally, like, if you stepped on their sneakers, they would get up and shoot you if they had a gun. Like, if you stepped on their sneakers by mistake, they would get angry as if you cursed out Allah or the Prophet ﷺ. Matter of fact, if you were to curse out the Prophet ﷺ, they would have no reaction. But if you stepped on their sneakers, you know, I mean, it's meant to get dirty. It's on the floor. It's your shoes. I mean, what else is it there for? You know, it doesn't make sense. And some people, they get so disrespected, and you know why? Because they have attachment to who? Not the sneakers. Who you know made the sneakers? Jordans. Who's it made after? Michael Jordan, right? What other sneakers do they have? Name after players. Okay, yeah. Okay, I know you guys know. You guys are acting like you guys don't know anything else, because you guys don't want to like expose yourself. It's fine. But you know, when people take pride, you guys probably take pride in, you know, I'm not saying look homeless and look ugly. No. You know, wear nice clothes, you know. But you are taking honor, the kids, you guys are taking honor in something which a disbeliever, right? A non-believer, like he is your role model. Why is he your role model? Because you know, sports is it's a good thing, but it's really a useless profession if you think about it. Because you're just shooting a ball into a basket. What's so cool about that? Did you design this computer here? Did you design this? I mean, anybody could do that after a certain practice, I think. You could. Some of you guys are pretty good at three-pointers, right? Anybody could do that. I mean, why is he valuable? Just because, you know, he wears a certain jersey and, you know, he does a dunk or two? I mean, that's what you base humans' worth on, based on, you know, shooting a few hoops. You know, it's very, if you think about it, it's very funny. Very funny. And if you go to school and you have to do an exam, are you going to tell your teacher, you know, I'm very good at basketball, so let me off the hook? Does that count to your teacher if you're good at basketball? If you really think about it, it's even worthless in your own schooling system. Nobody gives you credit just because you're good at basketball, or soccer, or cricket for Bengalis. Bengalis and I think English people too, they're pretty good at cricket. So nobody cares about that. It's about your education. At least be good in your education. Be a good Muslim and give focus to your education. Get A's in your class. You know, some of those Asians are very smart people. You know, Asians. Chinese people, Japanese people, Korean people, always smart. You know, why don't you be like them? At least, you know, they're doing something with their life, you know. You are busy running with your sneakers and stuff, and then nobody even cares about you. You know, you could stay with your sneakers, and you're running after sneakers. Come on. Very sad. Where's your ambition? You know, be like some of those guys, you know. If you're not at least a good Muslim, do something good with your life. But I'm not saying don't be a good Muslim and do something with your life and you're fine. No. Be a good Muslim and do something valuable with your life. Be in the top of the class. When you have a friend that tells you to do bad things, trust me, it is very hard to stay away. You know, I had about, Islamic schools are smaller classes, you know, they have smaller classes. And usually the amount of students in the class, they remain generally the same people throughout the 12 years, right? So like when I was in kindergarten until high school, I generally had the same group of people around me. Generally had the same group. Some people left, some people got in, you know, but generally the same exact group of people. But yeah, you know, we're as Muslims, we're supposed to be nice to everyone, you know, don't shun anyone anyway, away. But you have to stick with the one who is righteous. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a Sahabi, but someone who is the best out of the rest. You know, you have many worse options, you just choose the least worst. Now, after I graduated, I actually haven't contacted anyone from my class except one person who goes to college with me, because we have the same understanding, we studied with the same sheikh. And even after we graduated from college 2 years ago, I don't see him anymore, I barely see him, but every day I still text him, at the least. Every day or every 2 days I text him, or he texts me. Even if it's about religious affairs or worldly affairs, you know, I still maintain a relation with him. And he maintains a relation with me, because a lot of benefit comes out of that relation. Whether in terms of academics, whether in terms of religion, whether in terms of I just want to lay off some steam a little bit, maybe 1 or 2 minutes, so I call him, and you know, I don't really talk to him on the phone, it's more about text with him. Anybody still talks on the phone nowadays? Nobody really talks anymore. Sisters may be different, you know. Sisters probably all day on the phone. But you know, at least the brothers I know, at least myself, it's only text. Anybody calls, I just, you know, unless it's my father or mother, I don't answer. You know. Everybody else, I don't even have that many people on my contact list. I could give you my phone right now, but I won't. I could give you my phone right now, and you'll see there's only 2 people. I use WhatsApp and Telegram. That's the new thing. You know, WhatsApp got hacked, by the way, right? Facebook got hacked. Instagram and all these social media things, they all got hacked. So it's probably best to lay off these things for your own safety. You know, these Russians, you know, always busy, right? Russians always busy, Chinese people always busy. So you want to lay off these things. These social media things, these are like tools which can hurt you and which can benefit you. Normally when kids use it, they use it to do crazy stuff. And by crazy stuff, I mean not limited to online bullying. You know, Melania Trump, she has a new campaign about online bullying, right? It's very hypocritical considering Donald Trump is doing all that. But anyway, online bullying. A lot of people, look, nobody's, like I was watching a lecture the other day, my father sent it to me, and he was a very inspirational lecture and very real, saying that nobody cares, or nobody gives a, whatever, DAMN, about what you had for breakfast. You know, you like to snap pictures of you eating your breakfast and pancakes and put it on Facebook. Nobody cares what you have for breakfast. Nobody cares what you have for dinner. Nobody cares that you just walked into the bathroom right now and you had a rabbit slipper on your foot. Or, you know, people are so self-centric. They have to snap photos all day of themselves. They even coined a new term, by the way, because of this phenomenon known as selfies. You know, selfie wasn't an official word. But if you search it up on the dictionary now, Merriam-Webster online, it's an official word now. Selfies is all about yourself, right? That's where it comes from, self. People are so obsessed with themselves, and this is a sign of the Day of Judgment. Self-centric behavior is a sign of the Day of Judgment. Donald Trump, self-centric. Everything is around him, about him. The world revolves around him. Self-centric, sign of the Day of Judgment. Nobody cares what you had for breakfast. Nobody cares what you had for lunch. Nobody cares what you bought. And you, matter of fact, by you snapping these photos and putting it online, you wait to see how many likes you get. You wait to see how many people click like, and you wait to see how many comments you get. Why? Because you feel worthless that you are not approved by the people. You feel like you don't matter when you don't get approval from the people. When people don't put those, click that thumbs up, you feel bad. When nobody subscribes to your Facebook page, you feel bad. By the way, please subscribe to the Facebook page of the center, okay? We'll show it to you later if we can. The center has a new Facebook page. It's called Tawheed First Foundation. If you search it up, you'll also see the same logo there. So search it up, please, and subscribe. Inshallah, once they get the place, which hopefully will be very soon, there will be a lot of weekly programs and monthly programs, which you can all get updated automatically via Facebook. All your young guys have Facebook, right? No? All right, that's good. That's good. Don't get it, okay? Let your parents deal with it. Hopefully they know what they're doing too. If not, then you also stay away from Facebook. So yeah, so when you live for Facebook's approval, then it shows how much you think about yourself. Very low self-esteem. You don't need Facebook to get approval from the people. Just you be your own thing. Get your approval from Allah, and get your approval from your parents. Get your approval from your righteous friends. I even told my friend the other day, I did something which was Islamically, there's a difference of opinion, okay? Not haram, there's difference of opinion. Difference of opinion, you know what that is, difference of opinion. Scholars have different views on a certain thing. So I did something which is a difference of opinion, and my friend, he texted me about it, and I told him about the difference of opinion. He didn't know about it, but he was calling me out basically, saying that, hey, why did you do this? Don't you remember this? So then he wasn't aware of the other opinions. So I told him of it. And then he said, okay, Jazakallah khair for letting me know, thank you. And he actually read up on it afterwards. And he told me, I even discussed with my father about it. And you know what I told him afterwards? I wasn't angry that he called me out for it. I told him, and I can even forward you the text. If you want, I can forward it to you. I said, I have no use for a friend who does not call me out when he sees me in the wrong. That is, Uqsim Billah, I swear by Allah, that's what I told him. And my father knows which friend I'm talking about. There's only one friend I talk to. He's, alhamdulillah, he's also a hafiz of the Quran as well. I told him, I have no use for you if you see me in the wrong and you don't call me out. I said, I have no use for a friend. And he told me the same exact thing. And I did call him out many times on certain things, and he calls me out certain times on certain things. This is the kind of friend you need. I'm not a socially deficient person. No, I'm not. But I only speak to this one person. Besides people in college where, I need to get things from and, study with them, that's different. But religious-wise, there's only one person I talk to, one colleague of mine, besides my parents and my sheikh. There's only one person, because there isn't too many people out there who are compatible with you. They don't fit like puzzle pieces, So you have to be careful, and you have to choose carefully who you hang out with. Peer pressure is the number one thing, not just from an Islamic point of view, even from a scientific point of view. Many family therapists, many school psychologists and young kid psychologists, they will tell you the same thing, right? Am I right? Anybody psychology major here? Psychology major? Yeah, right. Okay, so they will tell you the same thing. I'm not making things up, If you don't believe me, go speak to the experts. Peer pressure is the number one cause where these kids do these kind of things. So I need you to focus on a few things. Number one, choose your friends properly, because Rasulullah said, "Al-mar'u ala dini khalilih, falyanzur ahadukum man yukhalil." Or kama qala Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that a man or a woman is on the religion or on the path of his friends. And that makes sense, especially for you kids. You guys spend 8-9 hours a day with your friends in the school, right? So imagine how much brainwashing, how much programming you get from them. فَلْيَنْظُرْ أَحَدُكُمْ مَنْ يُخَالِفُ. So watch whoever you befriend. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, focus on not pleasing your friends. Focus on pleasing Allah first. Okay? Because there's لا طاعة لمخلوق بمعصية الخالق. That there is no obedience to the creation of Allah when it involves disobedience to Allah. So first person you have to make happy is Allah. second and third person or people is your parents, you know, and even if they order you to do something bad, meaning against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you don't do it, and you just respectfully disagree, okay? But I hopefully don't think your parents will tell you to do something wrong. And if they do, then it's very sad. Third thing, Salatul Jum'ah. Salatul Jum'ah, especially even now in the winter, all the salats. In the winter, all the salats come very quick. Dhuhr comes at 11. Not now, when the winter comes in. Dhuhr, Asr, Maghrib, Isha. All of these come very early. And if you're in the normal schooling system, I don't see how is it possible how you can make the salah on time. I personally don't know how the system works now. Exactly now. Because I know some laws were passed by the mayor to make some certain things easy for Muslims and in terms of religious rights. I'm not too aware of that, so you have to check that with your parents. It's not no joke. Salatul Jum'ah, 3 times you miss consecutive times, Allah seals your heart. No joke. And the fourth thing is, do not get hyped up with the fashion. All these designer wear, they call it, designer wear. You know who makes these designer wears, right? These are not companions. These are not Muslims. These are business people, marketing people, right? They know that people like you will follow them like sheep. I'm going to be strict now. They know it works because we are like sheep. You are like sheep. They know that if they show one player wearing a certain thing like in a game on TV, they know you're going to go the next night and buy it. Matter of fact, some of these kids, they have phones like 3 times bigger than the size of their hand. Little kids, 8 years old, 7 years old, can't even hold the phone right. I was saying to one kid here, I'm looking at his phone, subhanAllah, I got scared looking at it. His hands look looks deformed compared to his phone, so small. What is he doing with that thing? Why is he on Facebook? Why is he on Instagram? 7, 8, and some of these parents don't even know how a phone looks. And they just give it to the kid. You know, $800, $900 phone. You know, and the phone, they know that the next time Apple releases another phone, they know you're going to wait all night on Black Friday trying to get it. They know that. And that is why they do it, because we Muslims are like sheep. And Rasulullah said that himself, that we will follow the Jews and the Christians until we go into a lizard hole. You know, in the desert, a lizard hole is like, you know, where the animal, lizard digs and lives in there, and you fall in there and you can't come out. Rasulullah said that himself. Designer wear. Do not get obsessed with designer wear. Every few days, some kids, they go out to the store, I don't even know where they get the money from, and if their parents are giving the money, they should stop immediately. They go to the store and buy a $300 sneakers. Come on, $300. You could buy so much falafel or cheeseburgers or gyros with that. At least something that will, you know, make you feel good, you know, satisfy your stomach. But instead, you go buy a $300 sneaker, and then you cry when someone puts a skate mark on it. Come on. You know, every few days you do that. You know, you see this wallet here? What's the brand name? I can't see the brand name. I don't think this is a brand name, but my father gifted this to me in 9th grade. And I'm still using it. You want to know how many years that was? 12 years. 11 years. Using the same thing, not a single scratch. My father gave this to me 11 years. There's nothing in here. I'm not going to give it to anyone. But 11 years I've been using the same one, and my mom can testify to that as well. You don't have to go out every few days buying something new. Take care of the stuff you have now. Otherwise, Allah will hold you accountable for wasting His resources. وَلَا تُسْرِفُوا إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُحِبُّ الْمُسْرِفِينَ. Do not waste. Allah does not like those who waste. Save that money for something else. Go buy a PlayStation or something. You know, something that's worth it. You know, don't spend $300, $400 on a sneaker. You know, this is really. Anyway, people have different priorities. Unfortunately, that's the sad thing. I don't want to take too much time because I know how it feels to be on the listening end. Sometimes I wish for some of our professors to drop dead in the middle of the class because I'm so tired of listening to them. You know, graduate courses, they go 3 hours without a break, right? So, you know, it's like a khutbah times 3. You know, and you don't even want to listen to the khatib for that long, you know? You start looking at your watch. So, I'm going to stop it here. And Jazakumullah khair for listening. I hope I didn't offend anyone. That was not my intention. My intention is just to open up your eyes in a non-conventional fashion. Right? And that's basically it. Jazakumullah khair. Please subscribe to that Facebook page. I know I told you guys to stay away from Facebook, but if you guys do not care to listen to me, at least do yourself some good and subscribe to Tawheed First Foundation. You're going to see this logo on the top. So it's a unique logo. It's a unique logo. You can't mix it up with something else. So Tawheed, first foundation. Tawheed space first FIRST. You guys know how to spell foundation, right? So Jazakumullah khair, barakallahu feekum. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. We only have about 20 minutes left. Before we make Salat al-Dhuhr, we're going to have some time to give out awards. But before that, we have to make dua for 3 brothers and sisters who passed away recently. May Allah have mercy on them, his brother Shahidul Rahman, sister Shaheen Akhtar, and sister Mahmouda Chowdhury. May Allah have mercy on them, and may Allah accept from them and make their graves spacious. Right now we're going to give out awards for the quiz we had during the picnic. And unfortunately they were all sisters. Unfortunately for the brothers they were all sisters, but for the sisters it's good news. Do I give out the awards or? Brother Mahmood will give out the awards for me. The brothers, you guys gotta do better next time. You know, have some protein or something, do some push-ups, so you guys gotta pass this one. Oh, there's also an announcement for workshop January 2019. The volunteers will give this out. It's $20.
Give the forms.
Yeah, we'll have the forms given out.
Give the forms and Assalamu alaikum. Inshallah, we have a workshop, youth workshop in January, sometime in January 2019. We'll give the final day. So I request all parents and also all youth, if you are interested, please register. The registration form will be distributed by a volunteer on the sister side and on the brother side. Please register for January 2019 youth workshop. Inshallah, if we have the place, we'll have the workshop in our own place, inshallah. Okay, congratulations. This is the prize for the quiz competition during our last Eid Union. First prize is Talmiya Islam. Congratulations to you. Talmiya Islam, I request to take the prize from Sister Siddiqa. I'll leave it here. Second prize is Tasin Khan. Who is Tasin Khan? Boy, right?
That's a girl.
That's sorry. Tasin Khan, second prize Tasin Khan. She's age 13 and this is age 18. First prize. And third prize Mahbuba Ibnat. These also third prize, all are sisters. So I request please take your gift for the quiz competition, first, second, third prize from Sister Siddiqa. Okay, assalamu alaikum. Thank you very much for coming. Inshallah, we are concluding our session now. And may Allah reward all of you. And then again, we expect your efforts to get our new places. See you again, inshallah. Now we will have a prayer for Zuhur. You can go to the corner of the mosque. Hazi Mission Masjid, Hazi Camp Masjid. You can pray over there. Sister can pray also. There are some, prayer track here. You can complete your prayer. Okay, thank you. Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum. Being a Muslim student in high school, I have seen many of my Muslim friends questioning their identity and question Islam. We question our identity because we're influenced by the diversity in society. Furthermore, we feel powerless in our communities due to the lack of positive representation of Islam in the media. There are barely any mainstream influencers of our race who can appeal to the youth. It is human nature to adapt to become similar to the majority. The lack of representation causes our Muslim brothers and sisters to feel voiceless and powerless in our societies. Furthermore, we give up our ethics and morals that make us Muslims and trade them to be more like our non-Muslim peers, who are positively represented in media outlets. I personally know many students who shift away from religion and become more fully westernized people with no regard for religion and morals. Some students even begin to feel less privileged than non-Muslims due to the negative portrayal of Islam in the news. The Muslims in Generation Y are mindless followers who do not have a strong iman. Iman is crucial to being a good Muslim, and the longer we live without knowing Deen and having a good iman, the more disunited our in Muslim society will become. We need to act fast to create the Tawheed foundation, to unite all Muslim brothers and sisters. The formation of a foundation for the youth will lead to the creation of a strong-willed Muslim community of individualists and leaders.
I think you can answer it.
Oh, Jazakumullah khair, Ahsanallahu ilaykum. I mean, when she spoke, I wrote a few major points. I don't have a paper with me. And I agree 100% that we are overwhelmed. Oh, thanks. Yes, I mean, she didn't ask anything, she just stated some facts, that is what happening. Now, the problem is this: once we identify a problem, there must be some process of solving the problem. Step number one, inshallah, this place will not solve all the problems, but will start solving some of the problems. And that should be beginning of a new dawn. If we, inshallah, give due effort with sincerity and sacrifice, it will make a difference. The point she said that young generation people are overwhelmed by the pressure of the majority. Now, if you go to Islamic history or history of even this country, the Catholics, when first came in, they are the one who oppressed the opposite denomination of the Christianity in Europe. So when they came back here, they got back to them. So when the Jewish population came into this country, initially it was very problematic for them due to the issues what suffered in the Second World War in Germany, in the Europe. But guess what? Now they are the most powerful nation, population in this country, perhaps 8 million people only, against 350 million people. So what that tells me, that if a population tries hard, regardless of their number, if they're sincere, they have a goal, and they have effort, in dunya term, if they have all those, inshallah, they will be successful. As a Muslim, in addition to this material elements, we have the support of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The support of Allah Azza wa Jal, we will be successful. See my statement, I'm just saying we should be, we might be, we will be successful. Now, if that we means us here, or some other Muslims there, I don't know. But I know Muslims will be successful. There is no a shadow of doubt in my mind. And that's how Allah said, Wallahu mutimmu nur, Allah will make this religion perfect. Now, shall we be the people holding the banner when it's perfect, or somebody else? That is our decision to make. So if we give effort here, inshallah, it will not change the whole world, but it will start a change at least. So I believe that if you try hard, being minority Muslims, and we don't have any examples to follow, so this place, whatever that place will be, inshallah, and other place similar to them, will be an outlet through which Muslims can speak. We'll have media, we'll have social activities down the line. Again, this is the starting stage. We don't have much to show or deal with, but I spoke to some brothers today. They are expert in a lot of outreach programs. We'll deal with all those. Again, all this requires some human resources, a place, some finance, all are needed. And this should be done by people like us for the sake of Allah. The last point, what she said, which is very powerful, that the pressure of the people, and we don't have an example to follow. So again, in a battlefield, when people fight, somebody has to be in the front line. In a battlefield, there'll be fight, but somebody has to be in the front line, and people behind them. So people in the front line get shot at first, and they get the chance to shoot also. So somebody has to be in the front line taking the chance, and I think, inshallah, we'll be the one at the front line. If we can get nothing done, at least we can tell Allah that we start a process. And this is very important to understand. This deen is about sincerity. Again, let me repeat, this deen is about sincerity. It's not about showing off. I'm not running for election, an office, so I have to please the population. It is about pleasing Allah. When Allah is pleased, whatever beneath Him, which is the entire population and the earth and heavens, they are pleased with me. They're supportive to me. Again, to me doesn't mean me as a person. Mean this ideology, this movement, this effort, this initiative. Inshallah, that will be successful. Again, success in Allah's dictionary doesn't mean getting glory and name and fame. Success means we live in as a Muslim, we die in the state of Iman. That is our success. So hopefully with this will lead us to those paths. Inshallah, we ask Allah's support in this.
Any of the brothers have to say anything? Ask a question? Okay, somebody else?
You can say what is in your mind. There's nothing wrong with that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's food. You want to eat now?
Just say you want to
Yeah,
say
you can say your experience in the school and see how can you address it.
Assalamu alaikum everyone. My name is Mama and I went to Islamic school from kindergarten to 8th grade. And this year I started going to public school. And alhamdulillah, I haven't faced any troubles. And a lot of my friends, I was really touched by this. So they know a bit about Islam. So they like this really I really like this. One of my friends, she was giving me candy, and I was kind of hesitant to take it because I didn't know if there was like gelatin or something in it. So she read the label first, and then she told me that it's fine. So I haven't really faced anything from any of the students.
Joseph wants to say something. Joseph wants to say something.
Yeah, so it's been really positive, but I guess the environment is really different, and sometimes I feel a little conflicted with my iman after seeing everyone around me because the majority is not Muslim, and in Islamic school everyone is, the environment is really different. Oh, I used to go to Mahmood. In Brooklyn, everyone knows it. And now I go to Stuyvesant. So I think it's really important to just remember Islam in your while you're going through your going through anything, even your regular life. So you can remember that first you're here for Allah, and then everything else comes after.
Does anyone have any questions? Okay.
You want to say something? You want to say something? So, another point which the sister said, the first one, I need to add, I just forgot. Being a minority Muslim in this country or any part of the world, that reminds me about the life in Mecca of Prophet ﷺ. So we need to study, at least read the seerah, the life story of Prophet ﷺ when they first lived in Mecca, being the minority. About first 3 years, the maximum less than 40 people were Muslim, first 3 years. They hide themselves in somebody's house and did not disclose their religion. In contrast, in this place, we walk around, people look like Muslim, is obvious. There are many masajid. So to be fair in statement, we are in a much better shape than the first generation of the Muslims, period. And having said that, therefore, we have the liberty and the privilege to do many things they did not have. So therefore, we cannot have any excuse not to practice our religion. We have to find avenues, alternatives, give effort, be patient, but we don't have an excuse. To make the point clear, Bilal is one of the companions of the Prophet ﷺ. He was tortured in the middle of the day in the hot summer. He suffered a lot, but still retained his religion. So brothers and sisters who go to environment, regardless of the school, could be shopping center, to friend's house, or school, Islamic school, or non-Islamic school, doesn't matter. Wherever you go, you know you're not being physically tortured. So you do not have an excuse to give up your religion. You don't. I know it is difficult, and when there is difficulty and you're patient with that, there is a reward for it. The example I gave before, if you want to get 100 in a class, you have to work hard. If you have to fail, you practically do nothing. So to get the best of this both worlds, you have to work hard. Now, another point the sister said, I like to say to the parents, this place or places similar like this, all the massages or whatnot, we cannot outsource our children to others to fix it for us. It doesn't work like that. Let me repeat. You cannot outsource your children to somewhere else. This is not a tech design you can send to China. They will build it for you and give it to you. It's your family. You can get help from others, but you are primarily responsible for them. I think this message needs to be clear. Like, nobody can eat your food. You have to eat yours. Somebody can cook it for you, but you have to do the chewing and swallowing it. Somebody can help you with the children, but you have to raise them. So you are responsible for them. There is no free ride. This life is not meant to be an entertainment place. Entertainment could be part of it, but that is definitely not the objective of it. Allah did not create the earth and heavens for the sake of entertainment. So that is not the objective, even though you can have some of it. So please do not think about outsourcing children. Many parents say both of them work, we put the children to this place, this madrasa, ship them to South Africa or Medina. That could be a helpful element in upbringing of the child, but you cannot solely depend on them. So I like to make sure that we understand this is our job. This is not a volunteer action that everybody is doing. With any of the child, out of the negligence of the parents, goes down the drain, day of judgment, they are going to come to the parent, ask them, why you have done to me. Believe it, that will be a terrible moment. This will be a very selfish moment. So we need to think about those things. We cannot outsource them, but we can get help from others, but we have to be the primarily responsible to take care of them and build institutions, build masajid, build Islamic schools, possibly for free if you can. Build them and support them so next generation could be guided for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Another point, the sister said that when in the school system, you are pressured by others, the iman changes. And obviously, being honest, it goes down. When I'm listening to the scholars and with the ulama, I feel like I never want to go to the masjid. I would just stay in there. When I used to do i'tikaf in the masjid in Ramadan, I wish I never come out of the masjid. That would be my life for the rest of the life in an environment of the masjid, eat, sleep, pray there. So do not have to deal with environment out there. But fact remains, in reality, you have to deal with it. So, our iman is going to vary. Because Allah says in the Quran, this is the belief of Ahlul Sunnah al-Jama'ah, that iman vary. Allah said, وَزَادَتْهُمْ إِيمَانٌ وَعَلَىٰ رَبِّهِمْ يَتَوَكَّلُونَ. Surah Anfal, Surah number 8, Allah said, the iman increases. وَإِذَا تُلِيَتْ عَلَيْهِمْ آيَاتِهِ زَادَتْهُمْ إِيمَانٌ وَعَلَىٰ رَبِّهِمْ يَتَوَكَّلُونَ. When you recite the book of Allah upon them, the Quran increases their faith. Therefore, we understand, opposite of that will decrease my faith. So, if my friends are not practicing, I'm forced by my colleagues and peers, yes, my iman will go down. Everybody singing a song is difficult for me to recite the Quran. Everybody cursing and lying and doing evil things, it's difficult for me to concentrate in prayer. This is being realistic here. So if I have to face that situation, I hope not, then when I come back, I have to regain. It's called compensation. The loss I had in the school, I have to read the Quran, listen to lectures, listen, to come to the masjid, listen to Islamic lectures, and so it will increase my iman. So if I lose something on a process, I must regain that much or more to fill up my bucket, so I'm never in loss. And that can be done. I know Stuyvesant is a good school, I'm aware of that, which is a good place to go. I went to Catholic school, that's one of the best. But the damage is done, Allahu musta'an. the damage it does to people, unless this is sheer Allah's mercy. Hijab and beard and thobe looks nice, but this is just clothing and outer appearance. The person is behind it. Let me repeat. The clothing is on the top of the person. The person is behind the cloth. That is the real person. And that is the person either fears Allah or doesn't fear Allah. You have to dress certain way as a Muslim. That's true. But in reality, does the person do it because the person has to do it? Or the person behind the clothing really feel like doing it? That makes a lot of difference. Somebody forced or feel like doing it for a culture is one thing. Somebody because of the intense love of Allah does something. That is a whole different ballgame. Example, Prophet Ibrahim ﷺ. He was not forced to slaughter his son. He was merely advised through a dream. Imagine level of dependence and conviction and love of Allah the person has. And Allah says in the Quran, الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا أَشَدُّ حُبًّا لِلَّهِ. Those who believe, they love Allah intensely. Intense means their beloved sons, in a sense, mean nothing to them. Their rest of the family member, important to the person. When the issue of Allah comes, it may turn to nothing. Simply the point is, Allah is the goal of the person. If our generation become like this, nothing in the world can stop them. Nothing in the world and the heavens can stop them. Because these are the people who live for Allah and who die for Allah. So your point A to point B, whatever inclusive of that, really for Allah. So the person is untouchable. I don't know that can we build a generation like that? I don't know. But can we try for it? The answer is yes. So then my point to the sister, if I ever feel my iman is a little low, I'm going to hit the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, read about it. Read the seerah of the Prophet, how they suffered, still they persisted. They also they stick to their belief, even though they had to pay a lot. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us with it. I think a young brother wants to say something. I know time is running out too. You want to say something, brother? Speak louder, closer to you.
My name is Mahmood. I've been in the public school for 3 years, and inshallah, inshallah in 6th grade, I'm gonna go to Islamic school.
Jazakallah khair. You want to say something?
What is
Yes, alhamdulillah, this brother is in the 3rd grade. Inshallah, he'll go to 6th grade. From there, that time he will go to Islamic school. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala pave his path easy. Make it easy for him to go there and let the parents support it. Let me tell you another thing. This is the parents, not the kids. We'll talk to them when the institution really running at full scale. The parents, because you are the driver of the vehicle, they are the passengers. If you make a wrong turn, the whole body of the vehicle, including people in the car, will be going the wrong direction. They have no options in there. What I'm saying, every penny, let me talk about academics. If this country had STEM enrollment much lower than other enrollments, that's why federal government gives a lot of money for the STEM education. Why they do that? They do not want to import engineers and doctors and physicists from Russia and India, other places. They want locally grown people. They invest money on them. Because any area they're weak in education, they put more money into it to increase the number of the population who are good at that field. Why? They do not have to be dependent on others. The government invests, maybe 20, 30, 40 years later, they get money. Do you know why the government gives financial aid? Many people just don't know how the economics work. When the government gives financial aid, somebody go to undergrad, finish a degree, government pays maybe $20,000 for the person. I don't know, depends on the school. But when you finish, if you work 40 years in your life till you retire, you'll be paying tax to the government for 40 long years. So that $20,000 been given back to the government maybe 50 times. So they make investment looking at the long-term picture. As a Muslim, when the parents make investment on children, paying for them, they are not losing money. They are investing money. You didn't lose money, you invested for the sake of Allah. And practically speaking, now let me talk about some social science. That's not my field, but just common sense. If my son or daughter goes to in his schools and get involved a lot of other stuff. And I see many children into drugs and whole other list of stuff, and they are lost, and the parents are crying because they are not careful where they put their children. I'm not saying the public school is the cause of it. Surely this is one of the causes which led to them in that direction. So if the children are lost, the parents are crying all day. Now the parents lost the dunya of the child, wanted the son to be a medical doctor or a lawyer or a professor. He's not that. He's in the prison because of committing crime, using drugs. They lost the dunya, and akhirah obviously gone. So what did he get end of the day? Zero. But you saved $40,000, maybe to get a kid from kindergarten to 12th grade, you probably spent $60,000, average tuition, $60,000. Yes, you saved $60,000 and you lost millions. Millions in emotional stress and his academic success and religious success. All the success lost could be acceptable, but religious loss by no means acceptable. Why? Because if I'm not a doctor, my doctor friends will work 40 years as a doctor, make a lot of money. I'll be a poor person doing some small stuff. But at the end of the day, he could be buried in a cascade made of $5,000. I could be buried for $200. Fact remains under the earth. Fact remains after 6 months, nothing remains. So end of the day, what is after the grave, that's all it matters, not what is before it. But however, what you planned before the grave, that fruit appears in the grave. So therefore, what money you invest on the children, this is an investment, this is not a waste. So like this brother, inshallah, within a few years he'll go to Islamic school. Those who are not, they should try that also. Please note one thing, Islamic school is not going to make them saints. People come in, some of the students coming from Islamic school smoking crack, right? This is not the school doing it, the student is problematic by itself. They only happen to come to Islamic school. This is a cause-effect analysis. The student is problematic. To solve the problem they put in the Islamic school couldn't solve it. The fact remains he is the problem, Islamic school is not the problem. By the way, Islamic school, like youth centers have structures, buildings, where people come give lectures. What lecture going to do to people if they don't listen? So it is not miracles which is going to happen out of this, but this is a process which is supposed to help us to grow the next generation. We ask Allah's help in you, inshallah. You want to say something, brother?
What did you damage at Catholic school?
What is it?
What did you damage at Catholic school?
Catholic school? Catholic school, you mean? Oh, you mean damage done in a Catholic school and a non-Muslim school, i.e. a public school. They don't really encourage Islam. They don't want you to be good Muslim. I'm not saying they're forcing you otherwise. I'm saying they do a lot of damage. You know what damage means? You take a glass, you drop from your hand, it breaks into pieces, you destroy it and damage it, right? They damage the mind of the people in those places. So you should be going to Islamic school at the least, and then more. Right? So you're going, inshallah? So may Allah make it easier. Anybody want to say something? Yes, go ahead. Huh? Oops, sorry. Go ahead.
In my school, sometimes I say some Islamic talks, I try saying hadith, but I see many times, I go to Islamic school, but I see many times many children say, I don't care about what the Prophet said, or I don't care about what said. So it's not the Islamic school that actually makes you learn about Islam. You have to learn on your own and practice it.
Jazakallah khairan. Jazakallah khairan. Ahsanallah ilayk. And this is the brother, by the way, answered all the questions we had in what is the place we went? In Queens? Belazano or something like this. He answered, mashallah, a very knowledgeable brother. May Allah reward him and protect him and make him a lighthouse for the generations to follow and benefit from it. He says he tries to tell other people, and the Muslims in Islamic school rejects it. I mean, this is a prime example. I mean, what happens? So we really have to work hard. Again, this is not by forcing. Many people think, let me tell you something. You can bring the horse close to the water, but you cannot force it to drink. You know what it means? It means you can advise people, but you cannot force them to fear Allah and love Allah. You can force them to pray and wear hijab. That's the physical manifestation of compliance. But fact remains the person could be, I hope not a munafiq, just does things for different intentions. So we need to give the love of Allah, how Allah cares for us. And do you know anybody, it's a side topic just for the young generation, do you know if you do one good thing, for example, you walk one step to Allah, Allah runs towards you, do you know that? I mean, this hadith itself, I'm an old person. To me, this hadith sometimes really over my head. I thought many times, I just with the depth of it. Me, this person, thought about it so many times, how Allah, my small initiative, He returns with running towards me. I really don't get it. It's too deep and too heavy for me. Allah, the Lord of the worlds. And my little effort, He appreciates that. Right? So inshallah, you got to do more because He loves it. And in return, He'll give you many times more. So inshallah, young people should try their best. If your sisters want to say something.
Assalamu alaikum. So I was asked to share my story with you guys. I was not born Muslim. My parents converted me to Christianity, even though all babies are born Muslims. Our parents sometimes do change our religions. So you guys have an advantage that I didn't have. Allah blessed you to be born into Muslim families. Allah blessed you with the fact that your parents raised you knowing who Allah is, and you weren't raised thinking that some other anything was your God. And I understand the challenges that, I just want to keep it short. I understand the challenges that you all face when you go to school, when you're outside playing with your friends. And let me tell you from a previous outsider's point of view, when you act and you behave like a Muslim, when you wear your hijab and you wear it with a smile on your face, men and boys, when you have manners like the Sahabas, ladies, when you show your true manners as a Muslim, the non-Muslims, they see it. They see it and it has an effect. They see it and they come to Islam. And they see it and they question, when I look at you bad and I make a nasty remark at you, why isn't this person fighting back with me? Why isn't this person making an ugly face at me? Why are they still smiling? Why are they being polite? Why are they being polite? Because Islam told you to be polite. Islam told you to be the example of the Muslim, and from this, inshallah, people do come to Islam. Anyone ask me anything else about it? I don't know.
Yeah, I have a question.
Yes.
Why made you choose Islam?
Okay, I chose Islam. Alhamdulillah, I actually asked God to guide me. I was not satisfied in my Christianity. So I actually was crying one night and I said, God, whoever you are, and I actually said whoever you are, because some people are just that lost. I said, God, whoever you are, and I was sincere, and I said, please guide me to the truth. I just want to know the truth so I can have a relationship with you. And alhamdulillah, I did go to a public high school in Brooklyn, and he led me to a Egyptian girl. She was an Egyptian girl, and she answered all my questions about Islam, and I had no good view of Islam. I was really upset when I saw women wearing hijab. I got really confused when I saw people putting their head to the ground, like, well, what are you doing? Why is your head on the floor? There's nobody there. Who are you praying to? I had no idea. I was lost. But alhamdulillah, Allah opened my heart, and He opened my mind, and He opened my eyes. And He opened my eyes. Because if you don't want to know the truth, even if someone puts it right in front of your face, you're not going to see it, and you're not going to hear it. But the person who wants to be guided, Allah will, inshallah, guide that person. So it took me almost a year, but that's when I took Shahada, and that was 2004, like that. So it was a while ago, but alhamdulillah, that's how I came to Islam. My parents weren't exactly practicing. They were a Christian by name, and I'm sure you know Muslims by name who don't do Islam, who don't follow Islam. So they didn't really care. They were just like, okay, you have a relationship with God, you're happy. As soon as I started practicing Islam, wearing a hijab and praying, they got really upset with that. So I had to sneak my hijab. Like, you have the girls who wear it at home in front of the parents. Look, Mom, look, Dad, I'm wearing hijab. They walk out the door. Whoop,
there it goes. They take it off, they put it in a bag, and they're off. They look like somebody else outside. SubhanAllah, I did the opposite. I took my hijab, I hid it in my purse. I walked out the door, I said, bye mom, bye dad. I put my hijab on outside the building, and I went outside looking like a Muslim. Alhamdulillah, I was a Muslim, but I had to hide that from my parents. Yes, Auntie. Question? Anybody? That's too broad of a question. Okay, my life before didn't have purpose, and there's this big conflict in Americans' lives, and they say, why are we here? Why did God create us? Why do I have to do this? Why should I do anything good? Why should I be a good person? And you hear this phrase like, oh, life didn't come with a manual. They say life didn't come with a manual, but then I found out life did come with a manual. It came with the book manual. And it was amazing. It was amazing. It was amazing. It was amazing to find all the rules and all the answers to my questions that I always asked as a non-Muslim were in that book or were in the Sunnah. Yes. When Muslim, my parents said eventually accept me wearing a hijab. It was kind of, an up and down fight, but they did just get over it because I eventually didn't want to take it away. Anybody else? I was in love with the rules. I have no other way of putting it. The more I learn something in Islam, like we are taught to get dressed or put our right arm in our clothing and our right leg first, or put on our shoe on the right side. Everything had a rule. You go to the bathroom, there's a right way and a wrong way. You interact with other people, there's a right way and a wrong way. The rules were there. When you go from darkness to light, you don't want that anymore. You want to know how to stay on the right path. Allah chose me, and it feels amazing to put me on that path. I want to know how do I stay on this path. So I want to keep learning. How do I learn more so I never go astray? Yes.
So, like doing Ramadan or you probably prayed in the masjid, but doing Ramadan you probably stayed at home while fasting. So, but your parents you to fast?
Well, I wouldn't fast on Ramadan, alhamdulillah. My parents were they eventually got used to not telling me, oh, it's time for breakfast, it's time for lunch, and I would just eat at home like everybody else, but they were very accommodating and understanding. No, alhamdulillah, it was very easy. It was very emotional. I was crying. Everyone in the audience was crying, and I didn't know why everybody was crying until later I saw other people taking shahada. I'm like, yeah, this is amazing. When you see someone come to the truth, it really hits you in the heart. Okay, Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum.
So a few comments. I wrote some of the notes while I've been listening. One thing, somebody to grow in their knowledge is to be a good listener. You need to absorb as much as I get, and from every statement there's something to learn from. So the thing I'd like to share quickly, surely this is a powerful story. And I have seen many. This is not the first time, but I heard up close like that in detail, perhaps for the first time in this level. One thing she said, unlike many Muslims, they wear hijab in front of the parents, and when they come outside of the house, they forget the Lord of the parents. Now that's very sad. Pathetic at the least to call. In contrast, what she did, she tried to please the Lord of the parents while she was afraid of the parents. So she did what the people of Mecca did. In the time of Rasulullah, a lot of slaves was Muslim that time. They couldn't practice in front of the master out of the fear of torture. So when they went out of the sight of the master, but always at the sight of the Lord of the worlds, they practiced their religion. So how can a Muslim care of the parents, out of the fear of them, they would do something, pray or wear hijab, and come out. The Lord of the worlds, which is also Lord of the parents, they're watching over them. They just don't pay attention to it. That's quite sad. This is not about the person is not a compliance. Person doesn't understand the essence of obedience. So we have to culture the philosophy of obedience. This is a whole different kind of study. This is not like pray, don't eat now. It's not that. It is more than that. This is the relation with Allah. So at the absence of the parents, when Allah is always present, the relation remains. If the relation is because of the parents, at the absence of the parents, the relation is disconnected. We don't want that. So therefore, we need to culture them in a manner. And obviously, 5 years old kid will not understand the details. At certain point, they just mimic the parents, rightfully so, age 7, 8, 9, 10. But beyond that, they have certain level of intellectual ability to understand basics. That time you have to make some culture in there. The parents shows how to give to the poor from childhood, has nice manners when they talk with neighbors. The kids would pick them up. As the sister said, when you go to the school, they may not like you, rightfully so, because a lot of things I don't like because of the media says, and that makes me believe that. They do not like Muslims, not because they have made the assessment of Muslims, because they are giving an opinion. Please note, television and news media is supposed to be giving news. Sadly, they give opinions. There's a difference between the two. News and information, like the weather. This is the temperature is 89 degrees. That's information. It is too hot, you shouldn't go out the house. That's an opinion. You should give me the temperature, I make the opinion out of it. I make the decision. News media does, they give you opinions and we swallow it. We must learn how to filter facts from the fiction, from messages, information versus opinion. So they get opinion against the Muslims, that's why we don't follow it. Guess what? Once I deal with Muslim, a non-Muslim many times, they look at me. For example, I went to a store many years ago in a Walgreens or Rite Aid. They gave me more money than I gave them. I bought something, I gave them money, they gave me change more than what I gave them. So that was like, I stepped out the store, I looked at the money, it looks more than what it's supposed to be. So I went back, gave to the person, standing in line, gave back to him. The person was like, wow. And the person was saying, I hope my manager don't see me. But the point is, the person was like, wow, where did you come? So I'm a Muslim. I don't own it, so I don't have no right to keep it. You don't have to get a lot of lecture. An action is louder than words. So if you act like a Muslim, like you have, for example, small kids, you have food today, a non-Muslim doesn't have food. Muslim non-Muslim doesn't matter, doesn't have food. The lunch today. So do you like to share half of it? As simple as that. That shows good manners, sympathy for others. You're a social person. The person looks at you, I heard people are like crazy people running on the back of a camel kind of thing. But they see interacting with people, it's a whole different dimension opens up. So, now, Muslims need to act like Muslims. Now the point in the public school system or otherwise, people make cars at you. It's very normal. How you react, that makes the difference. It's not what they said. In return, what are you saying? That makes a lot of difference. If the car's at you, he said, may Allah forgive both. May God forgive both of us. The person said, he's the one cursing at you. Now you become humble. That triggers a thought in the mind of the person. May not change today, but tomorrow, at 20 years, but it has an impact on the person. Now to the brothers, I'm making a point now. The sisters are talking to brothers. Brothers, this is not chickening up. Brothers may think, this person is chickening up. No, it's not chickening up. This is husnul khuluq, good character. If the person jumps on you and you got to take care of business, then you show the person what time is it. That's something else. You're not being there down there. But the point is this, showing this, big guy kind of thing is not a representation of Islamic manners. Prophet ﷺ was strong, was powerful. People obeyed him, listened to him, but he showed humility to his people. So showing good manners and good practice is important. We need to finish. The next one, the sister said, people did not come without a manual. And this was really a phenomenal statement. I liked it. So I'm going to touch 1 minute on that. We did not come without a manual. And Abdullah also said that the Big Bang Theory, I need to touch that also quickly in physics. Yes, some bang happened, but it was a controlled bang. There's a difference. A bang is a random event. Control is a well-planned, well-designed. So yes, it's a control. It's called controlled demolition. When they are trying to destroy huge architecture, they have a controlled demolition. It's not a random event, it's a systematic event. Allah had a plan. He did the way He planned, but it is no random matter. To say one thing, it is impossible for an event like this to be random. I'm sure you know it. If I take this speaker, very simple, this speaker, break into many pieces and throw in a garage for 7,059 years and throw 20 grenades in there to have combustion, have some bang and some explosive, explosion in there, what is the possibility that this piece is just going to come out and 100% ready to be used? It's practically impossible. Mathematically, yes, there's a probability 10 to the negative, maybe 250 million, could be. Mathematically speaking. Practically speaking, it is practically impossible. You break the thing apart with explosion, it will just come back in a good speaker. So how do you expect the earth and heavens, such a delicate balance in the environment, the oxygen, the nitrogen, the carbon dioxide, so much water, so much land, all this stuff, and the ozone layer, the amount of filtration there, the sunlight from some millions of miles away coming, enough for the vegetation to grow, us not to freeze, not too hard for things to boil. So Allah put a delicate balance. These cannot be a coincidence. Without going into details, Dr. Bilal Phillips, Hafizullah, has a book on this, entire book on this issue of God exists or not. You can read through that and find the details. Okay. Okay, sisters has questions. One thing, they're passing out the workshop registration form, which is supposed to be held inshallah in January 2019, perhaps within few months. Hopefully we can do in the place that Allah will allow us to buy inshallah. If not, it will continue. So please fill up the form with the registration information so we can make an estimate how many people may come and what are the age group. Why? Because based on the age group, the program will have different elements in there. If you are 5 years old, the discussion will be such. The 25 years will be another time. So please fill up the forms. It will give us advanced information how to program, how to do the setup for the program, and we'll get in touch with you regarding the program, inshallah. Somebody has something to ask? Please go ahead.
Since there are children and parents present here, could you please talk about how we can stay away from the Halloween culture that's coming up? And birthdays.
What culture? I didn't get it.
Halloween culture.
Oh, Halloween, okay. Birthday tree, yeah. Okay, just to say with Halloween, I mean, this is a whole different ballgame. Please note, Halloween is a symptom of a problem in itself, is not a problem. We have to understand that. High fever is a symptom. We need to find the cause of the high temperature. Suppressing the temperature, we're only going to suppress today, but the infection is within. You need to handle that. So, Halloween, in this place, if you go to public school system or otherwise, many cases, part of the social norm and culture. So young kids, it is difficult for them not to get engaged with candies and all this kind of stuff. So really, I don't know, I mean, it will be difficult to change because you only have 2 days or 3 days for this term. But to tell them the culture of religion, this is not how we do things. But the candy in itself is not wrong. The candy in itself, I can buy tons of candy, stay home and eat, no problem with that. But this very event, which has some evil stories behind it and some made-up, phony, what is the word for it? Mystical stuff, not really mystical, there's another word for it. Something mystical behind it. This has some religious connotation to it. Therefore, this is not our way of doing things. That way we do not do Christmas, we don't do this. So, I really don't know how to explain this because honestly, I didn't have to face it for my kids because, I mean, so perhaps somebody else who knows how to handle this can answer it better because I never practically had to deal with that in a sense. But what I say this, that we must bring alternatives to them. If they you don't want to watch them television, you must give them some alternative. You don't want them to go to right in the school to upstate somewhere like with Poconos with the friends, right? Even some Islamic schools do that. Like take all the kids and even the girls and boys, take them 2 days trip in Poconos upstate. And those, I don't agree with those things. I like to be with them. I don't want them to go somewhere else by themselves. With whom? Who is the mentor? What are they doing? So I have to give alternatives. So I have some alternative for you. Not me as I, we as a group. Inshallah, next summer, we are planning for, what do you call this? Summer camp, camping upstate, which I like. This is the only thing I like. You can say outdoor activities. Yeah, I go upstate. We can go camping, bonfire, basketball, fishing, hiking, whatnot. We can do this. We can have two groups, brothers and sisters. Parents will come. And it's not easy to get all the people together to get one place like that, to rent it. But with advanced information, we'll try to work it out. But inshallah, we'll go this year in summer, inshallah, with the right timing, with the young generations. We have quizzes, competing each other, sports and whatnot. So some alternative for them. Some barbecue event in summertime. If we have the place, then outdoor we plan. Like last time, Eid reunion, we'll have barbecue. And again, we just started, so you have to forgive any deficiencies we have because we just started the whole process. It's going to take some time to come to maturity, and everybody needs to help. So you have barbecues, sports, and different events, online and physically on that youth center when it becomes a reality, inshallah. So you have a place to come, to hang around, so you don't have to hang with other people. Concerning birthdays, ulama, I'm going to give you honest opinion, not one-sided opinion. Ulama has differences of opinion on the matter of birthday. I think Sheikh Salman al-Awda, Hafizullah, I think he said within certain contexts is okay. I don't approve it, I don't do it, my family never did it. But if somebody does it, we need to find out why you want to do this. For example, I do tashabbul kuffar. And the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, man tashabbal bi qawmin, fahuwa minhum, kama qala sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Whoever follow a nation, they're part of them. You follow a smart nation, perhaps you will be smart. You follow an educated nation, perhaps you'll be educated. You follow a pious nation, perhaps you'll be pious. So therefore, we follow the people of piety, and this is not the practice of Prophet ﷺ to the birthday. So I tell the young generation, are you happy with your birth? Yes. Now let me see, are you obedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be something to be happy with? If you're not, that's a sad story. Because every birth is accounted day of judgment in front of Allah Azza wa Jalla. If the birth is not a pious one, it will lead to hellfire. May Allah protect us from it. That's a sad day. It's not a happy birthday. It's a sad birthday. But if this person has a birth with the obedience of Allah, yes, that will be happy birthday without any celebration to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in dunya term. So we don't practice it typically speaking, but for the kid, all the cousins are doing it, they feel bad. Not on the day of birthday, maybe 7 days later. So we're thankful to Allah, we'll buy you some gift, we enjoy your presence in the family, so on and so forth, till they come to the level of understanding, right? Because I can give you a recipe which is not going to work. I think it's going to work for me, but it may not work for you. So I tone it down for you. So do something alternative, slowly but shortly, taking this infection out of the system. Please note, birthday in itself, the event itself, is not a major issue. We don't do it, period. But if somebody do it, we start fighting with the person, telling them this is not what we do, this is not our way of practicing things, right? But if the person don't pray 5 times a day, don't wear hijab, talking about the birthday is a waste of time. We need to address the priorities first, then the issues afterward. But we have to provide alternatives. Inshallah, we ask Allah's help.
Form short hai gaya register form. They can email us.
Should I go to the website?
I have a question.
Right. The forms, we printed and copied. I think they ran out. If you do need, I think you do, more forms, either you can email Tawheed Foundation, you go to the website, the email there, they will send you an attachment, or you can call Brother Mahmood. They will also can email it to you, or we'll post it on the website, you can download from it. Website was there, Tawheed first .org. You can go, huh? And the Facebook. Both places will post the registration form so you can fill them up, inshallah. Jazakumullahu khair. Please, guys.